What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining us on Tuesday night. It is episode 87 of Tuesday Night Titans. I am your host, JD from New York, as always, joined by the one and the only, the Solid Monster. What's going on, brother?
I don't know. Is it okay to be talking to you tonight? I'm a little...
I don't know, man. It depends on who you talk to and what circle you talk to, man. They don't even know why you associate with me.
Sometimes I don't know why I associate with you, but we're here tonight. So.
Yeah, we're here. We're here tonight. Yes, we're here every Tuesday, and thank you guys for joining us on episode 87. Man, how you feeling about this heel Cena, man? We got a lot to talk about in regards to this heel Cena, man, making the kids cry in Brussels.
Well, I like that. I think that if you're going to turn John Cena heel, the kids need to feel some pain. So I'm glad we're getting it, but I do have some issues with the way things were done last night. So it was kind of a mix of happiness, but also concern for where it may be going. But we do have a few more weeks of him on TV. So I don't think we have seen the last of the explanation and other things that maybe we're missing from last night.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were very pleased with his promo. I think you and me are in the same boat as far as what was missing from the promo last night, so we'll definitely get into that. Did it do enough to get you guys even more excited for WrestleMania 41? We will definitely talk about that. Dave Meltzer takes another L this week, as usual. I'm losing count already. It's not even, we're only halfway through March. We'll talk about his removal of the WWE ID story from the Observer, where Mr. Brett Lauderdale and other talents on the independent scene debunked Meltzer's great reporting. So we'll go over that. I'm sure Jason has already given his audience a handful of the Hulk Hogan fiasco, where people were upset that he walked out on his own meet and greet.
He said, "Fuck them kids," and he went running out the back door. Boy, you know, it's. Let me tell you something, man. It's tough to be a kid. You got John Cena going heel. You got Hulk Hogan making little kids cry. It's a good thing we have Cody. What would we do without Cody?
I don't know.
See,
Cody.
People want to turn Cody heel. You can't turn Cody heel. Everybody else is going heel. We need Cody to stay a babyface.
No, the only one that wanted Cody to go heel was Dave Meltzer. So we'll definitely get into that stuff as well. We got news on WWE looking at Jeff Cobb potentially, so much so that Sean Ross Sapp says that he may be on the internal roster already. So we don't know if that is legitimately the case or not, but we'll talk about that. We got some Bloodline news. Where is Hikuleo? Where is Lance Anoa'i? We got news on that. And we will definitely get into what was a very Rampage-esque Dynamite last week, which I was very vocal about. I'm sure Jason didn't appreciate the subpar, I was going to say collision. That's exactly what it was. Dynamite last week. We're hoping for a better show, and by the card that they've announced so far, it looks like it's definitely going to be a better show. We'll preview Dynamite tomorrow night right here on episode 87. Make sure you guys follow us on social media, on YouTube. Everything you need is linked down below in the description. Super chats are the best way to support what Jason and I do on Tuesday nights. They are open. They will remain open until the end of the show. Thumbs up. They go a long way as well. We love being in the algorithm. So make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. Let's try for 1,000 likes. We've hit the goal. I think we're on some sort of Undertaker-esque WrestleMania streak with the thumbs up and the likes. So make sure you guys do that. 1,000 likes is the goal. Leave a comment if you guys are watching after the fact. That also helps us out in the algorithm. And I think that's all I have on my end here. We got some cool stuff coming up. Just want to make sure you guys are aware. There is a Jose the Assistant interview coming. We're still ironing down a time, but it is coming, and we will be doing that hopefully next week. And then the following week, you guys will see Jason and I interview Jose the Assistant, and we will definitely get into what Jose is up to, what he wants to be doing, and who exactly is Jose the Assistant. So make sure you guys keep an eye and an ear out for all of that. As always, Jason, I'll leave it up to you. Where do you want to start us off?
Why don't we go back to Madison Square Garden from last week? Because I know when we were doing the show last week, NXT was putting on its Roadblock card.
Yeah.
So I had a chance to watch it after the fact, and I thought it was an excellent show. I thought that as a regular episode of NXT, it had to be the best episode that I've ever seen, because they loaded it up like a PLE. It was almost not fair, if you think about it. I mean, it was just a PLE, but it was on the CW. So I thought every aspect of that show, from the location and the setting, the matches themselves, I thought everything delivered. We had Stephanie Vicaire beating Julia to win the NXT Championship. She is now a double champion. Very curious how that's going to be addressed on the show tonight as we're speaking, because my thought was they handle it like they did Keith Lee many years ago. Remember when he won the NXT Championship? Yeah. He was the North American champion, and he surrendered the title to let other people have the same opportunities that he had. I don't believe it was a tournament. I believe it was a giant, I want to say 5-man match, maybe a ladder match. Damian Priest ended up winning it. So are they going to work it the same way, or are they going to have her defend both titles? So I'm not sure what they're going to do on that, but huge night for Stephanie. Julia may be going away for a little while. I don't expect her to be gone for too long. But you would never know. Let me tell you something. If she is banged up or hurt or whatever, now I'm hearing it might be a minor visa issue. Whatever the problem is, she certainly didn't look banged up in that match. They had an excellent match. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it.
I did. I'm a big Stephanie Vicaire guy. Obviously, chat knows. I prefer her over Julia. I was going to ask you, as you were detailing what happened in that match, I seen a couple of whispers on social media in the IWC saying that WWE prefers Stephanie over Julia. I don't know if that's the case. Julia was brought in with some fanfare and some hype. Stephanie Vicaire, obviously, as well. I prefer Stephanie. Some people prefer Julia. Do you think Julia is being utilized the proper way in NXT? Do you feel like her hype is has kind of died down, or you think WWE kind of overhyped her and she didn't really deliver yet? What's your feeling on her so far in NXT?
No, I mean, she was the NXT champion. I mean, I don't see how you can be upset with the way she's been used. If people feel underwhelmed, I think part of the issue there might just be that look who they brought in almost all at the same time. You know, she came in, Stephanie came in right around the same time. Jordan Grace came in. If anybody, I feel like maybe got the short end of the stick here, it was Zarya, because Zarya came in also right around that same time. And she came in like a monster in the division, but they had all of these other women coming in as well, and all the hype was around them. Nobody really knew who she was, and she's very good too. And now she's doing this story with Sol Ruca, and they're trying to show more of her personality. She's showing her more human side, which I think in the long run is going to be good for her. So I would say that maybe about her, and because she maybe was overshadowed by all these other big names that came in. But I mean, Julia, she won the NXT championship pretty quickly. Stephanie, look, I like them both. I may tend to lean more towards Stephanie as well. I think she's fantastic. I think that her English is improving. Obviously, we know how important that could be in WWE. So I kind of look at them in a very similar way. I think they're both going to be big stars when they get called up eventually to the main roster. So no, I don't look at Julia and say, Ben, she's been disappointing or it's been underwhelming. What else would you have them do with her? You know, she won the championship. So I'm failing to see what people would like Shawn Michaels to do with her that they haven't already been doing with her.
I don't know what the discourse was. I seen some people saying that her moveset isn't the same coming over from Stardom or Japan coming over here.
If it wasn't going to be. I mean, did you see some of the matches that she had in Stardom? Yes. I mean, yes. She was never going to wrestle exactly the same way that she did in Stardom.
I mean, they said the same thing about Io and Asuka, and look at how they turned out.
Right, but I mean, she would murder these girls if she wrestled the exact same way.
Well, that's another thing. That's another thing. The inexperience of the roster that's around her. She's so much more superior than the other women outside Stephanie and Zarya that are on and Jordan Grace that are on the roster. So there's a talent gap there.
Well, beyond the experience level, I'm just talking about the very kind of snug style that she was known for working over in Japan. It's not going to fly the exact same way in NXT. So I had no expectations that the same Julia that people saw over in Stardom was going to be the same Julia we were going to see in WWE. Like you said, when Asuka came in and Io came in, they were not working exactly the same. So I don't think people should be surprised by that. And also, she's still new. I mean, she hasn't been in the company for that long. And I do think that when she eventually gets called up, slowly but surely over time, we'll get to see a different side of her. We'll have her maybe open up her moveset a little bit more, and we'll see more from her. But she's still a relative newbie to WWE. I think she's accomplished a lot in a short period of time.
Yeah, I think there's nothing to worry about there. And someone in the chat said perfectly, people on social media just love to complain, and that's exactly what it boils down to. So they will both be fine.
Yeah, but again, I really do. I think that has a lot to do with it. They had this influx of big names in that division all around the same time. Under normal circumstances, Julia would come in and she would have all the attention and spotlight on her. But then you had Stephanie and Jordan, and it all just sort of happened so quickly, which is great for that division. But I could see where maybe one person now isn't getting the attention that people thought they were going to get, and they look at that and go, oh, they're not being buried, but like, oh, they're not being utilized in the way that I thought they would be. Well, you got to spread the love around, right? They got some big names in that division. I mean, that is a stacked division.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels has just, he's got this, embarrassment of riches in that women's division. It's a great problem to have if you're Shawn Michaels. So I thought that was an excellent match. Obviously had a hard stop at 10 o'clock. So you can kind of tell as they got deeper into the match. I mean, it was going, a million miles a minute. But the Obafemi match with Moose, I love that match. I thought that match was great. I think Moose, even in defeat, I think that he had the match of his life in front of the biggest television audience he's ever performed in front of. I love that match. I thought it was a lot of fun. We had the Hardys wrestling Fraxium, who I think, best tag team going right now in wrestling, against a team that some people would say maybe is the best of all time or in the conversation for best of all time. And the Hardys at this point, they're playing the hits. That's all they need to do. They're not going out there and doing anything too crazy. I don't want to see them go out there and do anything too crazy. They don't have to. I mean, you hear the fans, right? The fans react to them like they're these huge stars. So that was a fun match. Ethan Page and Javon Evans, I think that's helped bring out a side of Javon Evans that we haven't seen up until recently. And then Jordan Grace and Roxanne Perez, also an excellent match. So not a bad match to be found on that card. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a takeover-esque show. It could have easily been at PLE. And if that's the quality of television that NXT is capable of on a random Tuesday night, I mean, that's great. I mean, and I wanted to mention something about Jeff Hardy, too. I know Jeff Hardy fell on hard times while he was in AEW, and, the utilization of the Hardys just never met the hype that fans wanted to see out of them. It's so great to see him get back on track, and the Hardys doing their fucking thing, man. He looks rejuvenated. He looks good out there. They're keeping the straight and narrow. It's good to see that too. And like you said, they don't need to do anything. Save that shit for like when you really need it, and that's what they're doing, man. The longevity of their careers now hangs in the balance of like one more ladder spot, and this is it for me. We can't do it no more. So it's great to see them doing their thing. I love them.
And also, I think we're going to see them on the main roster, even if it's just for like a one-off appearance. Like at some point this year, we will see the Hardys on WWE television. I just think it's inevitable. And so if you're going to save some big spot or something, you may as well save it for a show like that. I'm not expecting them to be on the WrestleMania card, but I would be very surprised even if they're still under contract with TNA, to not see them on TV in some capacity, at some point this year.
So we will definitely keep an eye out for NXT, guys. I know there's some things happening on NXT, but I'm sure
And one more thing real quick. So Axiom had a hell of a week because he got to wrestle. It was the theater at Madison Square Garden. So I really like the venue, just the look of the venue. I don't know if they've had wrestling there before as far as on television in recent years. I mean, that it used to be the Felt Forum many years ago. I'm talking like in more recent times. I really like the aesthetics of the venue. But you had Axiom and Nathan Fraser wrestling the Hardys, which I'm sure for Axiom was a cool moment for him. And then on Friday, he's on SmackDown making his, I guess technically it wasn't his debut because he did have a match with Dragon Lee a couple of years ago, but on SmackDown in his home country of Spain, wrestling the World Heavyweight Champion. And they had a hell of a match too.
Yeah.
So even though he lost both matches, I mean, you had to know under that mask, he had a smile on his face from ear to ear. So he had a hell of a week.
That's probably the best thing on Friday Night SmackDown, in my opinion. I was actually kind of disappointed we didn't get Nathan Fraser versus Gunther on Monday, last night.
Yeah, but I mean, it only made sense with Axiom just because of where they were.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why they did it. That's the only reason they did it was to, give Axiom, and he got a great reaction coming out. They all knew who he was. Again, he was born in Madrid, so that's why they did that. I mean, obviously Gunther and Nathan Frazier would be fucking unbelievable match. It wouldn't have really made much sense to do it on Monday though, because what would be the impetus for it? Getting revenge for his partner?
Anything is better than Jey Uso flopping himself over the top rope,
Well, yeah, he yeeted himself last night.
Yeah, I know.
Unfortunately.
Was that a showcase for Axiom there? You think that was partially a showcase to see what he could possibly do on the main roster or no?
I mean, it could have been. I don't think that was the reason for it. But I mean, had he gone out there and shown, blown people away, I mean, it could have been. But I wouldn't call him up in any other capacity but as part of Fraxium. Yes. I just think they're such a great team. And that tag team division on either brand could certainly use a team like them. So would I call Axiom up as a single? No. Could it have been a showcase, to the audience of what he can do? It was. I don't know that was their intention of putting him on the show. But yes, it was a showcase for what he brings to the table. But where he will excel on Raw or SmackDown is as part of a team. Can't break that team up. No,
that's they are the best tag team, in my opinion, right now in all of wrestling. So, like I said, guys, we'll definitely keep an eye on NXT, or you will keep us updated on NXT. I'm sure something will happen tonight, like it usually does on Tuesday. So please keep us in the loop. Jason, where do you want to start legitimately with the news? Do you have anything on your mind that you want to talk about first?
Let's. You mentioned Meltzer. Let's go to the Meltzer story first.
Dave Meltzer in the news again this week, and it was not good for Dave. Apparently, the WWE ID guidelines, there was a report in the Observer. It was shot down by several entities on the independent circuit, and it was announced in October, as you guys know. If you guys don't know what the WWE ID program is, back in October of 2024, that WWE was starting this ID program. It was the company's way of signing top independent pro wrestling talent to deals while those wrestlers continue to perform at independent wrestling shows. Now, the world was coming down for some people in the IWC because they thought that this was the end of the indies and WWE was going to own all of the indies. Jason and I did a really good round robin, serious type of question thing. I shot a bunch of questions to Jason. This was back in October when the news broke. So if you guys want to go check that out, we definitely have that on TNT. And it never ended up being anything as serious as what fans made it out to be. So earlier in the week, WWE ID social media's account encouraged independent pro wrestling companies to book the ID talent for their shows. A reminder to all independent wrestling promoters, you can book all ID talent in your promotion. This includes all WWE ID talent who are getting exposure on Evolve. Contact talent individually for booking info. So Dave Meltzer of the newsletter claimed that Gabe Sapolsky puts the matches together and makes independent promotions follow guidelines for matches. So when it comes to the ID talent, the deal according to a contract is that Gabe Sapolsky puts the matches together and gives the script to the promoter. The promoter pays the talent and can push the talent that comes from WWE. WWE then covers the travel costs with the promotion, and the promoter pays the difference if the travel costs are larger. Following the report by Meltzer, it circulated online, and it led to several independent wrestling promotions denying what was reported. Brett Lauderdale of GCW, which is obviously, I would say, the number one independent pro wrestling promotion right now in the world, made it clear on social media that they are not, with the strict guidelines when using WWE ID talent. He put in a tweet, number one, Gabe doesn't put matches together. 2, I've never seen or heard of a script. 3, we are allowed to push WWE ID talent on announcements, but we don't. Not aware of any travel or travel share, but that would be cool. In another post, Lauderdale responded to a fan who asked whether they had a say if the talent go over or not, or if it was up to Lauderdale. He wrote, no. There has never been any discussion about winning or losing, and they've never asked, dictated, requested, solicited anything when it pertains to ID talent. There is also no distinction or separate rules for ID versus ID matches. The Defy Wrestling promoter shared Lauderdale's post and said that he was spot on, and then ID talent Zeta Steel responded with the report and dismissed it as well. Sean Ross of Fightful Select followed up and reported that numerous performers and promotions say that they have never been sent a script regarding ID talent to use, and they haven't heard of anything regarding paying for travel. And after Lauderdale and others responded to Meltzer's report, Meltzer obviously removed this story from the newsletter. Man, it doesn't sound like the end of the world at all, and it sounds like WWE wants their talent to go out there and do the one thing that everybody wants them to do, and that's fucking work. And then Meltzer just made an embarrassment of himself. Man, I don't know what else he needs to do. I think at this point he just needs to stay off social media.
Well, I mean, so I talked about this on my show, and you know, the real issue here is that there were morsels of truth, apparently, in what Meltzer was saying, but just the way he communicated it, the report itself was inaccurate. And he scrubbed it from the news. I know it was there because I saw it, and then it wasn't there. All of a sudden, it's just gone. And there's no acknowledgement of it. There's no correction issued or update or anything. It's like he just scrubbed it from the newsletter, and that just made the situation worse. So Voices of Wrestling had a report, and there was some information that came out. Originally, I know it was on their Patreon. And so this is how they clarified what Meltzer said in the Observer. They mentioned that Gabe Sapolsky being involved with the layout of WWE ID matches. Apparently that part is true, but only if it's WWE ID talent against WWE ID talent. So it would be, I guess, deemed kind of a WWE ID official match. And in that instance, that would be accurate. But if it's just a WWE ID talent against, you know, anybody else in a regular independent match, evidently that's not the case. As far as travel expenses, WWE is said to cover travel if it's a booking that they themselves book the talent on. And then they also had a quote in the report from another promoter just to give a little more background. So there may have been, like, again, little nuggets of truth in there, but the way that he presented it in the newsletter, it just wasn't accurate. So, you know, just kind of issue an update and say, just to clarify, and maybe he'll do that this week in the newsletter, but just to scrub it entirely and just not even acknowledge it, that's not how it's supposed to be done. So it just made the story even bigger. And like you said, it just seems to be one thing after another with Dave over the last couple of years. Just seems to be something every other week at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing, and we all have our downs on social media for sure. But Meltzer seems to have them regularly. Now, what Jason mentioned, WWE ID has announced that the championship tournament to crown their men's and women's ID champions is starting in Vegas the weekend of WrestleMania, or the week of WrestleMania, with 2 opening round events. One will be taking place at GCW. That's on April 16th as a part of their collective shows. And then FSW Vegas presents the ID tournament on April 18th after Smackdown. So what Jason said is, if it's ID talent versus ID talent, which I'm assuming WWE is going to crown a champion within their own ID program, so it's going to be ID talent versus ID talent, WWE and Gabe Sapolsky have free reign to do what they need to do for those matches and those performers. If it was ID talent, for example, ID talent versus a Charles Mason in House of Glory, those restrictions are off, and it's whatever it usually is, right?
Well, that's what it sounds like. Okay. Yeah, I mean that was based on the clarification. That's how I read it. Okay. But it almost sounds as if, you know, people are kind of learning as they go, because this program is still new. When it was first reported in October, we didn't have much in the way of details. And so we don't really know what all the details are, or exactly how the program works. It's not like they have a website and everything point by point is laid out there. You know, I take it the promoters and the people who need to know have the information they need on a need-to-know basis. But that's what it sounds like. So I don't know if he got his lines crossed up. I don't know if he just, you know, got some information and didn't get the full picture. But he obviously realized it because it is no longer there in the newsletter.
Yeah, the ID program, guys, is not as end-of-the-world doomsday as social media made it out to be. To me, the way I read it, this is great. I mean, look at the Future Stars of Wrestling show that's happening in Vegas. I mean, how often do they get WWE talent? And they got a WWE major championship, being crowned, or at least the tournament starting off on their show. So any sort of WWE tag team with the independents is a great thing. It's great for the indies. It's great for the talent. You know, fans are excited about it. I don't see what the big deal about this is. I think it's a great move.
Yeah, I mean, so far, I mean, there's always the possibility that they could overreach at some point. I think that's what people are worried about. But as far as the talent, you know, from a talent perspective, any opportunities that they can get, to help get their foot in the door, because we all know most of them, what they aspire to be. They aspire to be on TV. Yeah. So whether that's with WWE or AEW, that's the goal. They want to make it to that next level. If this makes it easier for them to do that, then I don't look at that as anything but a positive thing.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that, guys. If you're going to be in Vegas, those GCW shows and the FSW show, we're going to have some WWE ID representation there, and you can see who's going to be in the tournament. My guy Cappuccino Jones may be there. No. Jack Cartwheel,
Something brewing there with Cappuccino Jones.
Something brewing, yeah, I like it.
Something brewing.
Yeah, so that was out of the Observer, and Meltzer scrubbed that. So we'll keep an eye on Dave's next flop on social media. I'm
sure he was very upset when they announced that Backlash was coming to St. Louis and not to the Tokyo Dome this year, like he originally thought it would be.
You're making me wish it was in Japan just to give him a fucking W here at least.
Oh my God, he'd be on the first flight. Are you kidding me? He'd be there in the front row. How great would that be?
Imagine John Cena, Randy Orton in Japan at the Tokyo Dome, man. Oh my goodness.
And you see Dave like on the hard cam right there in the front row, like right in the middle. There he is. Oh my God, that would be unbelievable.
Oh my God, man. Speaking of talent, we got a couple of talent here that are floating around. Nobody knows what they're doing. We'll start with this one, Hikuleo. Everyone's asking where Tala Tonga.
Whatever happened to him?
I don't know.
He dropped off the face of the earth, didn't he?
I don't know what happened there. The bloodline angle, I mean, if you want to say it's continuing, sure. Solo, Jacob Fatu, I'm sure there'll be a collision there at some point. It is still continuing. Right now, Hikuleo, rumored to join that, never showed up on television. Nothing was heard about him until this week. Fightful Select reported that both Hikuleo and Lance Anoa'i had been signed to WWE deals. Shortly after Lance signed, it was known that he was injured and would be out of action well into 2025. We have not heard of that changing, says Sean Ross Sapp. Hikuleo hasn't wrestled since June 9th of 2024, and the last that we saw of him, he lost the IWGP Tag Team Championships. However, we were told, says Fightful, that he has been on the WWE internal roster for months. When we asked main roster creative sources, we're told that they were made aware he was signed, but he wasn't factored into creative plans upon him being signed. We're working on an update about his status, but he is listed in the company internally. As far as Lance Anoa'i goes, Meltzer reported that there's been heavy criticism on Lance from those in WWE. I mean, he can't even get his other stories right. Why would anybody believe him in this? Meltzer said Lance Anoa'i is there. There's been criticism of Lance that he may not make it. I have heard nothing negative about Hikuleo. You would think that him being there for all this time and not being used is like they must be disappointed, but I have not heard that at all. So, again, Jason, you mentioned lines crossing here. Sapp said that he was injured well into 2025. I'm assuming that's still the case. And Meltzer says people are disappointed with him.
Yeah. I mean, wait a minute. Disappoint. He just throws it out there, but like disappointed in what way? As far as like they signed him and then realized that he shits the bed in the ring, or is it like a disciplinary thing? Like he just kind of throws it out there. It's this nebulous thing. It can mean any number of things. Look, they signed Hikuleo because he disappeared. He's not with New Japan anymore. And my guess is when they have an idea for him to introduce him into the Bloodline story, that's when we'll see him on TV. And like you said, if Lance Anoa'i is hurt, when he's healthy, then we'll hear more about him. But this idea that like, how did he phrase it again? Like he's already in hot water or has heat? Like, what? It doesn't even make sense.
There's been criticism of Lance that he may not make it.
He may not make it. Was he dying? Is he like... What's going on here? What does that even mean? He may not make it.
I can't breathe. He may not make it. I have heard nothing negative about Hikuleo.
On life support, like in the hospital? Like, what are you talking about? We had Lance Anoa'i in House of Glory last year. He looked damn good.
He wrestled pretty well, yes.
Yeah. We even commented, I remember at the time, like physically, he'd gotten himself into like the best shape that I had seen him in, and he had a solid match. So I can't imagine it's a talent issue. And if it was, why the fuck are you signing people and then realizing, oh, he's not going to make it? Like,
oh my God, he's not going to make any sense. He's not going to make it.
I think they knew what they had when they signed the guy. Like, who is this guy? We have no idea who this guy is. Let's just sign him to a contract. And then they realize what they have in him. Like, it just doesn't even make sense to me.
Oh, man. That was fucking hilarious, man. He's not.
He may not make it. He's not going to make it. They're going to read him his last rites.
Oh man, Dave is something else, man. Again, you know, we joke about it. We joke about him. God. He's done it for so long, and I appreciate and respect the work that he does. But I mean, at some point, man,
I hadn't heard that. This is the first I'm hearing of this.
You got to have a fact checker or someone read over your shit before you publish it, man. Something.
Or just clarify, what do you mean by that? That could mean so many different things. And I hadn't heard that until you just mentioned it. So this is all news to me. I'm like, wow. Okay. He might not make it.
Yeah, so that's that. Lance, listen. Lance is a part of the most powerful family in the fucking business, man. He's gonna make it, and Hikuleo is gonna be on TV when he's ready for TV. There's no rush to get him back there now. Who gives a shit? Everybody's where is he? Where is he? Like, is he gonna make TV better? Probably not. I would rather him fit into something that makes sense.
And who knows? I mean, part of it may also be, you know what? We don't have a role for him right now, but let's just not say anything. We'll keep him sort of in the shadows. And when the time is right, it'll be that much more of a surprise because nobody will be talking about him.
Yeah.
And nobody will be expecting him. And when you least expect it, there he is. Maybe it's as simple as that.
I hope that's the case. So, yes, a little common sense when you read these things, folks, please. The other one is Jeff Cobb. This one piqued my interest. I'm a big Jeff Cobb guy. I think he's got a look that WWE could certainly utilize, and that's the story here. WWE had their eyes on bringing in Jeff Cobb. Now, this is coming from Sap over at Fightful. He's learned from a number of sources that WWE has their eye on Jeff Cobb as of late. Cobb has been working with New Japan Pro Wrestling and even wrestled and won there multiple times in the past week. After dropping a match last month, Cobb said, "So where does that leave Jeff Cobb? It seems I can't win when all the marbles are down. G1, New Japan Cup, long gone are the days when I went 8-0 in the G1. Now I can't even break 500. Where does that leave Jeff Cobb? Maybe it's time to take my bags and go somewhere else. I don't know. One source indicated that Cobb actually showed up on the company's internal roster this week. However, we have not confirmed that as of yet. When we spoke to sources in AEW, we're told he wasn't expected to join their company. Now, I mean, listen, first and foremost, I mean, he could be trolling everybody and nobody knows anything. I mean, wrestlers put something out there just to kind of deviate away from what's actually happening. He could end up staying with New Japan. We don't know. But I think the talents, Jason, of Jeff Cobb have been suppressed and kind of hidden away overseas, where a lot of people, if they saw him here in the States on a regular basis and something a little bit more substantial, I think a lot of people would be like, holy shit, where the fuck has this guy been all this time? I don't want to get excited about it because we don't know if this is the case or not, but you know, the first thing that I thought of, what many people might not know, is that Jeff Cobb played Matanza in Lucha Underground, and with the Lucha essence right now with Grande Americano and fucking, you know, Penta and Phoenix and Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee.
Michael Cole gave Lucha Underground another name drop last night on TV.
I mean, could we realistically see someone like Chad Gable ultimately lose at WrestleMania and then the dark arts of Lucha Libre end up being Matanza and he's the bodyguard for Chad Gable? No, I mean, I don't want to go into fantasy realm, but I mean,
you're going into fantasy realm.
What type of role would he have on television if they do bring in Jeff Cobb?
Well, I mean, they wouldn't even be able to call him that. I mean, that's not their IP. So he wouldn't be Matanza. For those who don't know, and a lot of people unfortunately did not see Lucha Underground because if nothing else, it just wasn't widely available. But the character he played, he literally played like a monster. I mean, he wore a mask, so you couldn't tell that it was Jeff Cobb until you watched him wrestle. And then he's got a certain style. Then you can kind of tell who it was. But they called him the proprietor, basically the general manager, or the owner, whatever you want to call him, of Lucha Underground was Dario Cueto. He was his brother. And he was like this murderous just monster. And he was locked away in a cage. And then they introduced him, maybe it was season 2. So that was the character of Matanza. But he's been in New Japan for about 8 years. So he's a known commodity. He's not like a young man. I mean, I don't know exactly how old. I think he's maybe 42. So it could just be a case where maybe he feels like this is his last chance to make really big money, right? I mean, it could be. He's not a young man anymore. And so the only surprise when I first heard this report, because we've seen him make appearances before in AEW. And so evidently he is not going to end up in AEW. So is he going to stay where he is? Is he going to go to WWE? I don't know. I know he lives over there. He's lived in Japan for a number of years. He's liked it over there clearly, but maybe it's just, he's going to see where the grass is greener. And if WWE is interested in him, as I think they should be, I hope it works out. I think, is it going to be some sort of game-changing signing? No. But do I think that he's a talented guy who could really contribute and who I think it would be fun to see him in the ring with people like Bronson Reed and Sheamus and Drew McIntyre and Penta and people like that? Absolutely. Now, you mentioned like WrestleMania. What if he shows up and with Chad Gable? You know what? He would work. It's too bad he can't be Matanza, because he would be a great like a bodyguard for someone like a Chad Gable.
Yeah.
Like to introduce him in that way. Remember how they introduced Bronson Reed when he came back to the company in WWE?
Yeah.
What role they had him in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Miz's bodyguard.
Right.
Yeah.
And thankfully that didn't last too long.
Thank God.
But it was a way to get him back, kind of get him back on TV. But that sort of role, I think introducing him in that way could be a great way to get him on TV. So we'll see if this is all just, rumor and innuendo or if it actually goes somewhere. But if he's serious, and WWE has interest in him, I say bring him on in, man. I think he'd be a solid addition to either the Raw roster or the SmackDown roster.
Normally, when you look and hear of somebody like Jeff Cobb, you automatically think he's a better fit in AEW. The fact that Jeff Cobb could potentially, we don't really know yet, as SAP is still looking to confirm it, that he's on the internal WWE roster and that he's on their radar. Do you find it a little surprising that AEW would not want to bring in someone like Jeff Cobb, being that AEW has such close ties to New Japan? Do you think that's a concerning aspect as far as, well, if Jeff Cobb's not going over there, why is he not potentially interested in AEW?
Well, you said that AEW isn't interested. I mean, who said AEW is not interested in him? I mean, it sounds like,
well, the report said.
Yeah, but we don't know that. I mean, it could be a case where maybe he just doesn't want to go there.
Yeah, but why?
We don't know. We don't know. I mean, maybe
we don't know. We don't know.
I've worked here. I've worked there. I've done work for AEW before. I've never been to WWE. I'd like to try my hand there. Could be as simple as that. WWE is the hot product right now. So maybe he wants to, it's now or never, right? He may not get another chance. Maybe he wants to know, can I make something of myself there? Maybe I can make really good money and have a successful career for myself in WWE and make big money, and he'll be happy doing that. Because we've already seen him in AEW. He knows the lay of the land there. Not that he hates it or doesn't want to work there, but it could just be that I've never had the chance to try this.
Well, maybe
so let me give this a shot and see if this is going to work.
Well, maybe he sees how the larger athletes in AEW are booked and said, no, it's not for me, brother. It's not going to work for me.
But that's just speculation. We don't know.
I know.
Like, we don't know.
Maybe he fears the Beast Mortos. I don't know.
Or hologram.
Commander.
Very intimidating.
Hechicero. I don't know.
Could be.
We'll keep an eye. I would love Jeff Cobb in WWE, so we'll see what happens there. But he was in the news this week, surprisingly, to see him floating around out there and WWE interested. I like that move, so we'll definitely see what happens there. Anything that's happening now, guys, free agency, I don't expect to see them on TV now outside of Rey Fenix. I think Rey Fenix will definitely be on TV before WrestleMania.
Well, that was the other thing. That was the other thing with SmackDown on Friday. We should talk about that. No mention of his name, no names or anything mentioned, but clearly in that vignette they aired on Friday during the show from Barcelona, that was a Rey Fenix teaser.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice it at first, but there were even some tattoos, if you look closely, that match tattoos that Rey Fenix has on his body and his hands. So clearly Rey Fenix is signed. Clearly he's on his way in. I was waiting to see now, unless I missed something, and tell me if I'm wrong, I don't think that vignette aired last night during Raw.
It did not. I said on my Friday night SmackDown stream, I said I would expect WWE to potentially play this also on Monday night, and then we didn't get it played on Monday night.
Right. Because that was exactly what my thought process was, which is everybody just assumed that means, he must be going to SmackDown. And I was like, well, let's wait until Monday. And for all we know, they'll air it on Monday too.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice it. So it's possible he may end up going to SmackDown, which would be an interesting move. I don't hate it, because I think if you were going to have him as a single, I think it actually is better to introduce him on a separate brand. If that's the decision they ultimately make, I think it's the right move to put some separation between him and Penta instead of having them on the same show, but just, doing singles and not working together. Even though I would love to see the Lucha Bros back, I would hate for Penta's push to be derailed because he's doing so well right now as a single. And that tag team division is just so fucking cold right now. Like, it would almost feel like a waste after the first 2 months he's had to put Penta in the tag team division. There'll always be a chance to do the Lucha Bros, down the road. We're going to get them at some point. But yeah, we just have to wait and see now where Rey Fenix is going to end up. How do they introduce him? We saw Penta on Raw last night making it very clear he wants to challenge for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
So he's got a direction now for WrestleMania, which would take him out of any... Because I thought maybe what they would do is Rey Mysterio and Penta kind of joining forces against the New Day. Or if you want to have Chad Gable in there, you could do Rey and Penta. Maybe that's how they introduce Rey Fenix.
Yep.
And that doesn't seem to be the case now because Penta is moving on to something else. So we'll see what brand ultimately he ends up on. But if he's going to be solo, I do like the idea of him being on SmackDown so that he could at least try to forge his own path and not be directly linked to his brother.
Yeah, I like that too. I was banking on them playing that vignette on Monday, and they did not. I don't know what they do if they end up doing Chad Gable as this Grande Americano character. Supposedly, they trademarked that name, teaming with the New Day against Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio, and then Rey Fenix. Who would be in that spot if Phoenix ends up going to SmackDown? Would it just be collective of the LWO?
Yeah, but that would be kind of underwhelming.
It would be very underwhelming, yes.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I don't know. That's why I'm not sure yet. We don't know for sure where Phoenix is going to go. Yeah. If he ends up going to SmackDown, then I don't know. I don't know what that would be, because it still makes sense to me, though. You want to have New Day on the WrestleMania card, and they have been associated with the LWO now for a while. It just seems like they would have some kind of a match involving them. Obviously, Rey Mysterio is going to be on the show, but what are they going to be doing? Chad Gable, he's been linked to it. That's why I keep coming back to this 6-man tag idea. Rey, Dragon Lee, and then the third person, I still say Phoenix would make sense. Yeah. So I feel like it still might end up that way. And if it doesn't, I don't know. Is there somebody else they could introduce that we're not thinking of? Because I don't think they just plug in Joaquin Wilde and leave Cruz del Toro out, or plug in Cruz del Toro and leave Joaquin Wilde out. So somebody's got to fill that third spot. I don't know who that would be, if not Phoenix.
Yeah, again, we'll keep a close eye on that. I hope it ends up being Rey Fenix, but I also do agree with you that if they do want to keep them separate for now, that probably it's best for them to be on separate brands. So,
yeah.
Again, I'm sure we'll get something else on Friday, and we'll see what happens there. The other one that we got on Friday was something potentially for Malakai Black and his return. Now, all that this was, if you guys remember the House of Black vignettes or backstage promos they used to do, all black, smoke, and you'd see Brody King come out of the smoke and he'd say something. Buddy Matthews would come out, he'd say something. And Malakai comes out in the center, he would say something. It was very similar to that style of production and visual. And all we got, Jason, was what looked to be the number 4. It could be misconstrued as an A, some weird-looking A. But I looked at it as a number 4. Now, the reason why people think it's a number 4, I got some theories here that I jotted down from Friday. The number 4 obviously means something. So we got people thinking that it's pointing to April 4th. It's the 4th day of the 4th month, and that day does indeed fall on a Friday. That could be one theory. I don't think that it's that, but we'll see. I think Malakai ends up debuting or re-debuting with the WWE after WrestleMania, so I don't think it's going to be during WrestleMania season. Another one of the speculations that I saw is that Black left in 2021, and that's 4 years ago, and the number 4 could signify how long Black has been away. Again, I mean, that could play into the visual that we saw on Friday. We don't know. And then the other one is the last thing that we saw from him. I don't know who he was feuding with. I want to say it was Big E. He had that dark father gimmick, and the last thing that we saw of him was Chapter 4 of the Dark Father saga. So it could be going back to that, and they could be retelling that story again with his return. So I don't know what it is, but I think everybody's confident that Aleister Black is coming back to Friday Night SmackDown.
I was going to say it'd be kind of funny if he just sort of returned, and it's almost like everything that has happened over the last few years, just like it was a dream. It didn't happen, and he shows up looking for Big E. And he's like, "Where's Big E? I want Big E."
Yeah.
And people have to tell him like, "No, Big E, he's not wrestling anymore." So, because that was the last thing he did. I think Big E was the Intercontinental Champion, I believe, at the time, and he had just come back to TV. Black did, and then he got let go. So I also looked at it as maybe a countdown, as in, this was week 4. Next week, if we get another one, it might be the number 3. And then the following week 2, and then 1, and then he debuts. That's how I looked at it. I looked at it like a countdown, maybe.
I could see that for sure. Would you wait until after WrestleMania is over on that Friday after WrestleMania to bring him back in?
I would.
Yeah.
I just feel like you don't have to bring everybody to the fore before WrestleMania. And you do want to save, I think, at least one surprise post-Mania. So if it were me, I would wait until that Raw or SmackDown coming out of WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'm excited for him. I'm most excited about him because I feel like Triple H is going to really make a great example out of him. And I think everybody's talked about it. Jason talked about it. I talked about it. His NXT run was great. His main roster run under Vince was shit. They didn't know what to fucking do with him, and I think they purposely buried him. He ended up getting fired. He went to AEW, and everybody looked at him as a potential AEW world champion. He had an unbelievable debut with Cody in Miami. He beat Cody twice. I don't know what went wrong there. Now he's back here, and I do think Triple H is going to make a great example out of him. I could immediately see him going after the United States Championship. I could see him factored right into something major when he comes in, and I hope it is that way because I feel like this could be his last major run, his last major contract in pro wrestling, Jason, honestly.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
And he's had injury issues before. I mean, apparently now he's healthy, and hopefully he can stay that way. I think that might be part of what derailed things for him initially in AEW, because I know he's talked about having a back injury, and then so much time went by and people thought he was still injured, and he got upset because he said, "No, I'm not injured anymore. I'm good now." And then we don't know what happened. But maybe that played a role. Maybe they had plans for him, and maybe he did get hurt. I don't. That whole situation is so freaking weird. But it's over now, and so now he has the chance to come back and just kind of write a new chapter. And the guy who happens to be running creative is the one person who seems to have done right by him in the last however many years it's been since we saw him in NXT. And that's another thing also, like the smoke in the promo. I mean, you mentioned the House of Black. But when Aleister Black used to have his entrances, it was very smoky.
Yeah.
So there's always been smoke kind of associated with that character. So we don't know, again, more so in that one than the Rey Fenix teaser. There was nothing. There was no indication of who it would be. Like there was no hint other than just the number.
Yeah.
So we're speculating that it might have to do with Aleister Black. We don't know that for sure. But it sure seems that way. And I think that all the people that got that early release from Tony Khan ultimately will end up in WWE. Miro is the one I'm a little less sure. I don't know, what he wants to do. You talk about weird situations. I mean, look at the last 3 or 4 years of his career. Talk about where things went wrong there. That's going to be one hell of a Chris Van Vliet interview one day, I'm sure, to find out what the hell happened there. But even him, I'm sure they're all ultimately going to end up in WWE.
A lot of that had to do with probably what he was dealing with personally. I'm happy to see that he got back with CJ Perry and they renewed their wedding vows. So that's probably a huge ordeal that he was dealing with, and now that is good to go.
It was, but let's not pretend like
I know.
he dropped off the face of the earth only then. Like this shit was going on long before that. So I would like to know exactly where it went wrong and why.
I do think he'll end up back in WWE. I'd like to see that. Again, they can't take everybody. They don't have all that many. I guess they could if they wanted to, but you don't want to end up like AEW and just sign up everybody and then leaving no television time for several people sitting backstage. I mean, Andrade tweeted out earlier this week saying, waiting. Yeah, I'm waiting too, bro. I would have loved to see
we're already getting the cryptic tweets. That's probably not a good sign.
No, that's terrible. So
no.
So yeah, Malakai, I think Unleashed in the chat said Aleister Black versus Cody Rhodes. Listen, at some point, if Cody is still WWE champion and he gets everything out of his system with Randy and Rock and Cena, I'd like to see it. Why not? That's great. So we'll see what happens there. But yes, Malakai, Aleister Black, and Rey Fenix potentially coming back to WWE. So Friday night, we'll keep an eye out for what we could see as far as a second vignette for both. Speaking of SmackDown, Jason, Lillian Garcia is wrapping up as SmackDown ring announcer. She announced on social media that she will no longer be the full-time ring announcer for SmackDown. A new era is upon us. I will still be with the company as I will be doing announcing for Saturday night's main events, singing at certain special events, and currently working on other show ideas with WWE. It's my home, so stay tuned as a new chapter begins. I invite all of you to continue this journey with me as we share it together. Bottom line, thank you. I love you all dearly. So Lillian, from 1999 to 2010, a return in 2011, and her departure in 2016 saw her come back in October of 2024 when Samantha Irving left as the Raw ring announcer. So I don't know what that means. I would assume that they bring back Mike Rome. Well, I don't know if they want to stay with an all-female ring announcer crew on the main roster, but I would assume Mike Rome, and then they hire somebody else or move somebody else up in the ranks on NXT. What do you think?
I always assumed that the Lillian thing was a temporary measure until they found somebody, to be a more permanent replacement.
Yeah.
And she did fine, but I think Mike Rome. So, and I was watching, especially the introductions to the main event at Roadblock last week, because he used to be on the main roster. Like a year ago, He was, I think, on SmackDown as a SmackDown ring announcer, and then he got sent to NXT. He does a tremendous job.
He does.
I would even say that at this moment, he is the best ring announcer that WWE has. Yeah. So I think that he should be back, frankly, up on either Raw or SmackDown, because I have him. I rank him even above Alicia Taylor. So if that's the plan, to move him up, and we don't know, I think it would be well deserved. And then, I don't know if they are going to pull somebody from within or if their plan is to bring somebody from the outside. I don't know. But Mike Rome, you could plug him into either of the main shows right now, and he would be a tremendous ring announcer for them.
Yeah, I totally agree on all fronts there. Who knows what Nick Khan's thinking? He wants to go maybe a little bit more sports centric.
Michael Buffer.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I don't know.
Michael Buffer.
I don't know what he's thinking. We could definitely see something like that. But yes, Mike Rome, I would like to see them promote from within. I think they got more than enough to fill that role on NXT. It was great to see Corey Graves back on Monday Night Raw. So hopefully the him and the standing of Corey and the company is good and being worked out. So that is the latest with Lillian Garcia. And like Jason said, it was always meant to be temporary. I wonder if they actually go back and try and sway Samantha to come back, you think, no?
She's not coming back.
No.
She's made it very clear she didn't want to be an announcer to begin with. So it's not like,
I don't know, man. Money talks.
Money talks, but I'll make a bet with you right now. She doesn't come back to be the ring announcer.
I was just, you're
I'll
right.
bet you a real American beer that she doesn't come back to be the ring announcer.
Nope, stay in AEW. Go with Ricochet in AEW.
There you go.
Survivor Series. We got news on Survivor Series. It is definitely. Actually, did I just delete that? I think I just deleted that story.
Survivor Series. We haven't even gotten to WrestleMania. You're talking about Survivor Series.
Likely location for Survivor Series. Yes, Fightful Select reports internal sources listed San Diego as a potential city for Survivor Series. If selected, this would be the first Survivor Series in an outdoor, warm weather city since Los Angeles in 2018. Now, while the event is typically being held over Thanksgiving weekend in recent years, a specific date for the show this year has not been announced. So WWE right now is dripping little drips here and there with their PLEs. Obviously, we got WrestleMania coming up, April 19 and April 20. That's in Las Vegas. May 10th, they just announced Backlash from the Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri. And we got Saturday night's main event happening on Double or Nothing weekend. That's Saturday, May 24 in Tampa, Florida. And we got Battleground on May 25th, which is going head-to-head with Double or Nothing from the Yuengling Center in Tampa, Florida. And then we got Saturday and Sunday, August 2nd, August 3rd for SummerSlam at MetLife. And then Sunday, August 3rd, Clash. No, not Sunday, August 3rd. I'm sorry. That's September 3rd, I think. Clash in Paris.
Well, you forgot you forgot there's a Saturday night's main event opposite All In.
That is correct. I forgot. I don't have that listed here. Yeah.
On July 12th.
Yeah. Clash in Paris was announced for, I believe, the end of August. And then Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, gets the Royal Rumble in 26. So you see where WWE is going with their PLEs. I'm sure Tony Khan is coming up with some plans to counter WWE, and then WWE will just counter the counter on Tony Khan. So that's the way it is right now, man. You know, he can't escape
Maybe
it.
it'll be like the old days where they'll start, the competition will get so fierce that they're going to start running matinee shows and then running a second show like in the evening. Like they'll just start running twice in the same day, like in corresponding cities. Like maybe they'll just burn each other out until nobody buys tickets anymore.
Like WrestleMania, what was that? WrestleMania 4? Where was that?
Two. You talking about the one for multiple locations?
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, they used to run shows all the time. They'd have like a matinee at like noon, and then they would run, 8 o'clock in some other city. I mean, the schedule back then though was just, I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. They had a C crew and a D crew. They could run 4 shows in one night all across the country.
Would that even work nowadays? Could AEW even pull that off? Double or nothing, one city and then the other half of Double or Nothing in another city?
No. Well, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about running one big event from 2 different locations. I'm just talking about running like a live event earlier in the day and then coming back and running a completely different event that same day, maybe with the same crew, but like later in the evening.
No.
Like that used to be a common thing with the live events like years ago.
I don't know who enjoyed that lifestyle. Not for me at all.
Well, you can understand why so many of them ended up drinking and all the other things they were doing.
Australia. Speaking of Australia and beer, we got
Foster's.
Foster's.
My dad, Australian for beer.
My dad used to drink Foster's. It wasn't bad.
Was it any
actually.
good?
It wasn't bad. No.
I never tried it.
Australia. WWE's coming back with a potential PLE in Australia. Chief Content Officer Mr. Triple H recently confirmed during the Sports Analytics Conference that Perth will host an event this fall, specifically mentioning Perth coming up in the fall. Fall starts in September. WWE previously held a Super Showdown event at the Melbourne Cricket Grounds in Melbourne, Australia, which was headlined by Triple H and The Undertaker that year. In 2024, they held the Elimination Chamber, and that was from Optus Stadium in Perth. Rhea Ripley headlined the show with Nia Jax that year. And then PW Insider is now reporting that the current timetable for those Perth events is in the fall of 25, likely September. As of this writing, the theme of the show is unclear. Listen, I don't mind a good 5:30 a.m. wake up call where I got the pot of coffee started before I even come downstairs from the bedroom. I don't know how you feel.
5:30 a.m. wake up call are words that should never be uttered. So you can enjoy your coffee. I'm going to enjoy my my morning sleeping in.
What time did you go live that day? I think I went live around noon, around the same time.
I think so. I think I went. Yeah, I think I went around noon, 1, sometime in that range.
I think the show ended and I went back to sleep and then I went live.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, but then of course if I complain about it, I get the messages from all the international viewers going, "Oh, poor you! We got to watch Raw at 3 a.m. every week. Poor you in the U.S." And I'm like, I know, you're right.
Oh, we don't have to do that now. I mean, Monday Night Raw aired at 3 p.m. Yesterday afternoon.
Hey, you know what? And they didn't even go the usual 2.5 hours. They went off the air 10 minutes early.
I know. I thought they were going to give us the main event with Breakker and Balor at like fucking an hour and 40 in, honestly.
I think Cole made a comment like the main event was up next, but I think he misspoke. Yeah.
Good. What else do we got here? Let's see. Want to talk Hulk Hogan? Let's talk the Hulkster.
Sure, why not?
Hulk Hogan.
My favorite thing to do.
He was blasted after infuriating fans because of a bizarre exit from a meet and greet. He just got fucking roasted online for his actions here at a meet and greet.
It was in the Hudson Valley.
What's in the Hudson Valley?
The ShopRite that he went to.
Oh, is that where it was?
It was at a ShopRite.
Oh, boy.
At a ShopRite in Hudson Valley, New York, Orange County, I think it was. Yeah, that's where the incident took place.
Well, the last time that we saw Hogan was on the debut of Netflix. He got booed out of Los Angeles. Very poor reception. He bullshitted his way out of that one. And then a number of fans, apparently, this time, lined up to meet him for this meet and greet. Now, hundreds of supporters stood in line for a chance to mingle with Hulk Hogan in New York, according to a local report. Hogan promptly upped and ran out of the session without any explanation.
Well, I mean, He's not running anywhere these days. Let's be careful with what words we use here.
The report noted that 200 fans had been promised a meeting with Hulk Hogan in addition to a photo and autograph, only for Hulk Hogan to seemingly depart with more than a dozen still waiting. Now, one father named Robert Taylor told News 12 that he had his children waiting with him for hours, 4 hours to be exact, before being left disappointed by Hogan and the unexplained departure. He says, I was there with my son and daughter. It was an exciting day, especially for my son. They said he could only see up to number 200, and we were at 185. Taylor said it is said to have been a part of a group of fans who have been assured they would be able to take pictures and collect autographs. The father said it was real quick. And then all of a sudden, the session came to an abrupt end. They stood up and bolted along the back. Some lady was very upset, screaming and cursing. My son just started crying, and a bunch of other kids were crying. The parents' upset children were seen in a video he provided to the outlet, pleading for answers from Hogan.
Did you see this video, by the way?
No, I did not see the video. I only seen this report.
It was a the video. It was
what is
like
going on today, man?
The father is in the front seat of his car and he's filming these children who were very upset and crying in the back seat. And it's like a son and a daughter, and the son is like, "Oh God, what did the son say?" Like, the daughter was like, "Why did you do this?" Like, I can't even replicate like the accent that she used. She was so upset. And how old could this girl have been? Maybe like 7 or 8. She's like, why did you do this? The boy is like, you're a terrible person, or whatever it was that he says. And I'm looking at this, and I don't know if it was the same father or a different person in the story that said their kids were just such huge fans. They watched him for years. And I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
That don't even make sense.
It doesn't make sense unless you are someone who you are raising your kids as wrestling fans, but you're like raising them on just exclusively old wrestling.
Yeah.
And you're showing them nothing but Hulk Hogan stuff from like the 1980s. Like legitimately, that is the only way a comment like that makes sense. Like, you could be aware of who Hogan is and have his toy and all that stuff, but the idea that, well, they've been watching him for years, and so they were very upset they didn't get to meet him. The kid is 7. Hogan hasn't wrestled a match in over 15 years. Okay. So like, I call bullshit on that one. The father is the fan. Okay. Let's just be honest about what's going on here.
He didn't want to admit it because he'd come off too much like a mark in front of everybody.
He didn't. Yeah. Well, among other reasons, if he didn't want to admit that he was a Hogan fan, but like he's the fan here, and he's dragging his poor innocent children around to a meet and greet at a ShopRite so that he can see Hulk Hogan and take a picture with him and his beer. And he's making the claim that his kids, they're so disappointed. No, you're disappointed. And don't flash your phone in your kids' faces when they're all upset either, by the way. I mean, that's a little bizarre too. But that's not even the best part of this. Like, I saw the News 12 story and I played clips from it on my show, but like in the story, they also mentioned social media posts from other people who were there and very upset. And like, some of these Facebook posts and like TikTok videos and stuff, like, dude, it's priceless. Like, there was one woman, she was so upset, I wrote it here, and she said he should change the name of his beer to Real Scumbag Beer. Right? So that was one quote that I saw. And then there was a TikTok user, this guy, who recorded like a 90-second video. This was before the incident. This was even before what happened at the ShopRite happened. So he must have also skipped out on somebody else. And he's going off, I've been a Hogan fan my whole life. And he said the new slogan should be, drink your beer, become a drunk. That should be Hogan's new catchphrase. It's not eat your vitamins. It's drink your beer, become a drunk. You're a jerk, Hulk Hogan. So like, man, these people were really upset. Like he let a lot of people down, apparently, and they did not take this well.
Yes, none of that makes any sense. Definitely the father is dragging his kid around for a fucking photo op with Hulk Hogan. Yes, yeah. It says here in the News 12 thing, you're the worst, and why did you do this? In the video that apparently was recorded with the children upset here. Taylor, the father, added, if he had to leave, he could have walked down and shook people's hands and said, hey, I'm sorry, we have to get going, rather than just leaving people stranded. PW Insider also reported that another appearance on the tour saw Hogan arrive late and leave without signing any autographs. Hogan and whatever happened at the Netflix premiere, his team are said to have not responded to any requests for comment for this particular incident, has been hitting locations in the U.S. on a drive to promote Real American Beer he launched in conjunction with WWE back during the Netflix event, the debut on January 6th. After his poorly received appearance, he was seen downing beer backstage with Rey Mysterio.
He was drowning his sorrows.
And anyone apparently who's on the fence about dropping almost 10 grand for a WrestleMania meet and greet with Hulk Hogan, now you guys are in luck. Get this, Jason. Ticket prices for the luxury suite experience at WrestleMania 41 with Hulk Hogan, which includes access to both nights, a meet and greet with Hogan, have dropped nearly 30% because of this story. Originally priced at $9,500, tickets are now available for $6,950 as Hogan's popularity plunges.
Oh, what a steal that is. For $6,000, you could sit and drink beer with Hulk Hogan as he regales you with stories of how he slammed the 878-pound Andre the Giant and he died 4 days later.
Oh my God, man! What is going on, man? Like, why?
Why? Look, there were people who were upset that they brought other items and he said he couldn't sign them. And I'm not even going to blame Hogan for that because that's the way some of these meet and greets work. He doesn't make the rules. They want you to buy the beer. So if you buy the beer, he'll sign a beer can or he'll sign the case. They don't want him signing action figures and posters and shit. Like, okay, fine. I don't even put that on Hogan. But yeah, I mean, look, if you're a Hulkamaniac, and maniac being the key word here, that you're going to wait in line with 200 people to get Hulk Hogan to sign a beer for you, and then he bails and you've been waiting in line for 7 hours or whatever it was. I mean, first of all, you might need to reevaluate your own life, number one. But number two, like, yeah, at least like say something to the people, like, brother, you know, I got another event I got to go to, brother. I got to go from the shop right to the food town, dude. You know, whatever. Just say something. The idea of him like creeping out the back door and leaving people stranded is pretty shitty. And I can understand why they would be upset. And they were very upset. But it's like everybody's been piling on Hogan. Like Scott Steiner did an interview with Chris Van Vliet and talked about Hogan, called him a piece of shit, called him a motherfucker, and talked about how he tried to sabotage him in WCW. The Undertaker did this, not a watch along, but like they call them playback. So they have two wrestlers on WWE's YouTube channel, and they'll watch an old match of theirs back. So they did one with Undertaker and Kane for their first match of WrestleMania 14. And it was at the very end of the video, like the post-match, they show Kane giving Undertaker a tombstone onto a chair. And as he tombstones him, Undertaker's like, "Oh, you got me, brother." And they just start like busting out laughing. Because that, as Undertaker tells the story, that's what Hogan said to him when he tombstoned Hogan at Survivor Series back in 91 and won the title. "Oh, you got me, brother." And he made everybody think he got hurt. And then a week later, Undertaker's like, "Oh my God, my career's over. I can't believe it. I took every precaution."
He got hurt on what? His head came nowhere close to that steel chair.
But literally, like as he drops him, he says, like Hogan just looks up at him and goes, "You got me, brother." And so like this is supposed to be his crowning moment. He's been in the company for a year. He just beat Hulk Hogan to win the championship, and he thinks I've just paralyzed the Golden Goose here. And Hogan's in the back, laying on the floor with medics around him. "Call my wife, get my kids on the phone." And Shane McMahon looks over at him and goes, "Dude, like his head was nowhere near the mat. Like I'm telling you." And like a week later, he watches it back because they didn't have like phones. You can't just bring it up. And he's like, "I got to confront this guy. You know, what am I going to do here? Like he's the top star, but I can't let this lay." He goes, "Hulk, Terry, look. I saw it back. Like your head didn't hit." "Well, brother, here's what happened. You had me so tight that when you dropped me, it kind of sent a jolt through my neck. And that's what happened." And that Undertaker from that day forward, he knew like, okay, I know what I'm dealing with here. Like, I know the kind of person you are. That's why he never misses an opportunity to like take a little dig at Hogan. Like he enjoys it because he knew back then, like what kind of person Hogan was. So when he made that comment, like I just started cracking up laughing because it just came out of nowhere. But like it's so petty, I can appreciate it. I could appreciate the pettiness of it.
So does this have anything to do why they took the title off and 5 days later?
No, I mean, I think what happened there was the only reason they put it on him in the first place. They were doing this new pay-per-view on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's when they did that Tuesday in Texas show. That was their first time doing that. And they wanted to see how it would do. Like, it's a Tuesday pay-per-view. So I think that's why they did the title change. And then the plan was always to put the belt back on Hogan and then vacate it, put it up in the Rumble in 92. So, but he thought it was, when he got to the building, he's like, all right, we're changing the title to Hogan. And he's thinking, fuck, like, I fucked his neck up. And so that's it. They lost their trust in me. They're taking the title off me. That's why he was so upset. Like, you could have killed this guy's career by doing what Hogan did.
That's crazy.
Undertaker was still brand new. He was there for a year. How old was he? Undertaker was like 26 when he won the title. And so you hurt Hulk Hogan, you drop him on his head like that. If it was anybody else, this is what I said the other day. Like, if it was any other gimmick but the Undertaker, that would have been it. But I think like Vince loved that character so because it was his creation. I think that's may have been what saved his career, honestly. If it was anybody else, that might have been it. That might, like, we can't trust this guy. He's not safe to work with. So he never forgot that. You could say it's petty, and it is, but like, you'd be upset too if you were in his shoes.
I mean, I look back at that. I didn't. It wasn't too long ago I watched that match back. His knees, like, I would feel bad for his fucking knees the way he came down on the steel chair.
Yeah. But I mean, again, his head was nowhere near like being jammed down. And believe me, I remember like when Undertaker, like in those early days, if you watched him in the ring with some of those jobbers back then, like some of those early tombstones, like I can't believe he didn't break people's necks. Like they were gnarly. This was the safest tombstone you could have asked for. And Hogan laid there for like 20 minutes before he got up, and he just had this look on his face like a deer in headlights. Like, he sold it great. I wish he could act that well in his movies. But
that's ridiculous. As far as this story, I didn't know any of that. I heard the Scott Steiner clip. I seen your tweet in regards to the Undertaker and Kane thing. I didn't know what it meant, but now you told me, it's just fucking utterly ridiculous.
That's where it's like a famous comment. You'll see it like memed online, like, "Oh, you got me, brother." That's what it's from.
But in regards to this situation, though, walking out on these poor people in upstate New York, I mean, is he that tone deaf to realize, hey, man, my name is kind of getting dragged through the mud. I don't really have a good standing with the fucking general public here. Maybe I should cherish the people who do want to come out and see me. Instead, he shuns these people, and he continues to bleed people who actually give a shit about him. Why think that way? I don't really understand that.
It's all just business, He's got to try to hit as many events and hawk the beer in as many places as possible. And I'm sure he's got his team. He's got people with him shuffling him off to where he needs to go, and he doesn't give a shit. Some people in that situation would be like, no, you know what? We got 20 people left. Yeah. These people have been waiting for me. I'm going to sign for them. But he doesn't give a shit. Like he's Hulk Hogan. He can do what he wants, and he's got his beer to promote, and that's it. And some people now are seeing Hulk Hogan for who he is in these situations, right? I mean, he's been, look, not to say that he hasn't been good to some of his fans and all the kids he's met and had successful meet and greets, but then you hear about stories like this and it's shitty, and people obviously are very upset, including that one father who dragged his poor kids to this event under the guise that they were Hulk Hogan fans, even though I don't believe that for a second.
I don't know, man. Anybody in the chat spending $7,000 to go sit with Hulk Hogan and watch WrestleMania with him? What's the other one that released today? $25,000 to have dinner with John Cena at a 5-star restaurant in Las Vegas?
Yes, $25,000. Apparently, it's only open to like 20 people. So we'll see if they find 20 people to take them up on that.
Oh, they will. You
think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe that father, Robert Taylor, maybe he'll fly all the way to Vegas and he'll pay $25,000 to go meet Hulk Hogan.
I don't know. You think Hulk Hogan's going to be roasted at that roast that they announced?
Who knows? Who knows? He's already getting roasted every day. What do you need a roast for? Every fucking day there's a new Hulk Hogan story.
Oh my God, man!
You would think that after a while, like, forget the fans for a second. It's like wrestler after wrestler after wrestler. Like a few weeks ago, it was Seth Rollins. Like there are enough of your own colleagues and wrestlers like in the business who roast him on a regular basis. Like when you see that, like, maybe it's a you problem and not everybody else.
Oh man, what are we gonna do, man? Meltzer, Hogan. It's just the hits just keep on coming. Cena, speaking of the hits, did John Cena's promo last night on Monday Night Raw hit the way that it needed to on the road to WrestleMania? Now, first of all, I enjoyed 3 p.m. start time of Monday Night Raw. I don't know how you felt. I know we said it last week. I was going to go live at like 5:30, 5:45, and then I finished, and then Jason went live immediately. So I like that format. I know dinner came a little later for me, 8:30, but it's something I could certainly get used to. This week we have a 4 p.m. Smackdown. Of course, they're coming from Scotland, so we'll be live individually an hour later. So we'll see what happens with that. But as far as John Cena, Jason, in Brussels last night, they started the show off with him, which I was kind of surprised by. I thought they would save it for the main event, but they opened the show last night with him, and the energy was unbelievable. I guess we'll start there. I was kind of indifferent. I'm like, I would rather it be here, soon after the Elimination Chamber. We knew that John Cena's movie schedule and his other commitments probably held him back from appearing sooner than he wanted. So WWE put him on the European tour here, the international tour on the road to WrestleMania. I said last night, with the way that they introduced him and the energy, it made WWE look like geniuses for actually waiting to do this 3 weeks after the Elimination Chamber in Brussels. The energy, I said to a couple of people, you would have never got this in the United States last night. I mean, it went off like exactly how you needed to with the energy in the building. What was your immediate reaction to the energy and the way that the crowd just received John Cena last night?
Oh, I think the energy was off the charts. You know what it reminded me of? As soon as his music hit and the boos started raining down, it was like Money in the Bank 2011 in Chicago.
Yeah.
It was the same exact thing, because I've rewatched that so many times, and when they hit the first chord of his music, like the boos rang out, and that's what this reminded me of. I had some people write into me and make comparisons to One Night Stand in 2006 when he walked into the Lions Den against Rob Van Dam and the reaction he got at the Hammerstein Ballroom. So it was on that level, obviously a much bigger building. They had about 8,000 people there. We would not have gotten the show as a whole would not have gotten the reaction it got from the fans if it was anywhere in the States.
Yeah.
So I think, because the rest of the show honestly was not that great. This really was the highlight of the night. We got a couple of good matches, but the show as a whole was kind of, I mean, it was average at best. And that's with that crowd. So you take that show and put that anywhere in the US and it would be even worse. I loved the response from the crowd because I wasn't sure what to expect, right? We have not had a WWE show in Belgium in a long time. We've never had a Raw ever in Belgium. And I thought maybe it would be a little mixed. Maybe there would be a mix of like 50% cheers, 50% boos. But as soon as his music hit, like it was loud, thunderous boos. And so that was awesome. And he walks out there and then he's wearing the frickin' t-shirt and the jorts and the hat, and he's coming out to his normal music. Yep. And I will tell you that when I initially saw that, I was like, oh man, I was disappointed when I first saw that. He didn't run down to the ring, because when you're a heel, I guess you don't run unless you're running away from somebody. So he walked to the ring. He had a stone-faced expression, on his face, and he was standing in the ring. It had to be for what, like 3 minutes?
At least 3 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and just everybody's booing him and they're chanting things at him, and it was great.
F.U. Cena, which got bleeped out on Netflix. I don't know why. At the beginning of it did not, but then they started bleeping it out. I'm like, I've watched and I've heard a lot worse on Netflix. I don't know why we can't get a good old "fuck you, Cena" chant.
Well, I've also read that WWE may be in charge of that they may be in charge of actual production on these shows. So it may have been a WWE call. It was lame either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were multiple chants for Cena, not just "fuck you, Cena," all kind. They sang the "Na Na Na" goodbye song to him. So
you sold out.
You sold out. So that was great. As the promo went on, and he did mention why we didn't see him with a new wardrobe, why we didn't see him come out to new music. I'm glad that they addressed that, and I like the way that they addressed it. As far as like, that's what the fans wanted.
Yes.
The fans wanted John Cena to come out and not be dressed the same way. The fans wanted him to come out to new music. And he was like, fuck you, you're not getting it. I'm not giving it to you. I've given and given and given to you for 25 years. And I know that's what you want because he's had 2.5 weeks to sit on X and Instagram and he sees all the comments, right? And he sees all the messages from people. This is what you want. Too bad. I'm not giving it to you. This is my song. That's my voice on that song. And I'm not changing it. So I like that explanation. If he was going to keep this, and I still kind of hope at some point maybe he'll change that. But if he doesn't, I thought that was as good of an explanation for that as you could give. And then he got angry, and he broke up with us. He did. I can't believe it.
He says,
and now he wants to have dinner with us for $25,000 after he broke up with us last night. What's that about?
What a fucking greedy bitch is John Cena. I love that aspect of it. I said the same thing on my show last night. I said, if John Cena came out with new heel music, a new wardrobe, and he went like the cool Hollywood Hogan type heel, you risk potentially people cheering him and then, siding more with him than they would Cody. If you're going to go all in, you got to go all in. You can't go and do things that are going to adversely affect Cody Rhodes here because he is the guy that you need to be the babyface. And Cena, even though he said, I'm not a heel, I'm not a babyface, I'm a human being last night, you need to keep the lines the way that they are. So I did look back and say, man, I was disappointed too that we didn't get new music and new outfit and new persona. But Cena's, I guess, anger just kind of made sense last night. So he said, for 25 years, I've been the victim. I've been the victim of an abusive relationship. He called everybody hurtful and abusive, and all they ever did was bully him into being their puppet while expecting him to do it with a smile on his face. No more. And then we got fuck you, Cena chants. He said that he was not a babyface, not a heel. He was a human being, and all the fans have been awful to him. It's been the same noise for 25 years, and when he first arrived, they let him know that they hated him. He changed himself, hoping that they would like him. It was never enough. So he worked hard like he always did. He won and won and won. He won a lot, and then they ended up hating it. Spent 10 years of his life trying to give everything he possibly could, but it was never enough for the fans. He said he could have just walked away. He announced his retirement in advance and tried one last time to get along with the fans, but they ruined it, just like they ruined everything. And like always, it was great for 2 seconds, but it still was never enough. He said these fans were proving his point with all the songs and all the chants. No matter what he did, it was never enough. All they ever did was take and take and take, and they only cared about themselves. Cena put his values on the line, and all they could think about was what they were getting. None of them asked how he was feeling. Now they were getting what they earned, and that was nothing, which is why he said, with the music, that's my vocals over the music. That's my theme music. I'm who I am. They were not getting a new look. They dressed like him. He didn't dress like them. They weren't getting new music. That's his voice. Their time was up. My time is now. All that they were getting was a chance to look in the mirror and realize how awful they were for the last 25 years. So fans obviously chanted for Cody at this point to come on out. And then he starts pointing at the fans in the front row and fans in the crowd. He asks, what have they ever done to support him? These Let's Go Cena, Cena sucks chants. All they ever did was steal from him. They stole from him and took his time. They made him seem invisible for 15 years. They took that joke for 15 years and they still think it's funny today. It's pathetic. They are pathetic. He said they wore his shirts to feel good. The words hustle, loyalty, and respect. He lived that every day. They didn't support him. They used him as an excuse for their pathetic failure of a life, and all they ever did for 25 years was sit on their ass while he was out here being great. He's in a toxic relationship. He's breaking up with all of us, whether they liked it or not. You guys are getting dumped. And then I guess the camera pointed at a sad Cena fan in the front row. And
little kid.
Little kid just fucking went viral on social media because Cena blasted the fucking kids in the front row.
I think he called him like a bitch or something. And at that moment, they cut to this kid who's like, wait, what? He's like wearing the shirt and everything. I'm like, that was perfect timing.
I don't need you anymore, he says. I don't care about you. You don't matter to me. There's no noise you can make. There's nothing you can do because you know I'm right and you know that you are all wrong. So Cody Rhodes comes out and Cody says, Cena thought the fans had given them their worst, but they also gave him their best. They did this for 25 years because they thought he was special because he could carry it. Listen, kid, says Cena. And Rhodes cut him off and said, enough. I am WWE champion, no kid. Rhodes was excited to go face-to-face with the real John Cena, not this John Cena, and he really put an emphasis on this. Got this instead. This version of Cena better not show up at WrestleMania because Rhodes is going to run it over. Rhodes already took his best shot, or he took his best shot from Rock and crew at Elimination Chamber, but it wasn't enough. Rhodes would retire him early, and then he goes on to say, go find the real John Cena, because he wanted to fight that John Cena at WrestleMania, not this whiny bitch of a John Cena. Rhodes left with no music. Cena stood there. I thought he was going to get the last word. He did not. He just looked. He felt the energy, dropped the microphone, and he walked out to no music at all, and that's the way the segment came to an end. Was this enough, Jason? Because I feel like a lot of fans were expecting a lot more than what we got verbally from John Cena. Now, I said this. I know you mentioned something on Twitter, and I know you probably addressed it on your show last night as well. We didn't get the partnership with The Rock. No mention of Rock at all. No mention of why he felt like he needed to sell his soul to The Rock and what that means for him chasing number 17. Why is it so important for him to chase number 17? Why he needed to do all those things were not addressed. Now, I said I don't necessarily want to focus on that, because the explanation that John Cena gave us was more than enough as to why he is going the road that he's going into WrestleMania. With 2 weeks of John Cena appearances coming up, we got one next week and the one after that. I feel like he's going to explain those things. I hope. I mean, John Cena is one of the greatest promos in the history of the business. I think if there's one guy we don't need to criticize and, complain about what he said and what he didn't say, it's John Cena. I do think that they will address that. And I feel like what he did last night was more than enough to get us into the next week. All we needed was a true explanation as to why he felt the way he did. And I think he expressed that perfectly last night.
I fully believe that promo that he gave, last night is what he wrote down or had in his head in 2012.
Yeah.
When he first thought and was told that he was going to be going heel. Remember, he ran out, he got new outfits, and he laid down a new track. It was going to happen. And then Vince got cold feet and he changed his mind. And I fully believe this was the promo that he was prepared to deliver, whatever that was, 13 years ago. Because it really would have worked better back then, right? I mean, the fact that he's going off on the fans for, making his life hell and bullying him and being in an abusive relationship, he has been beloved for at least the last 5 years, if not longer. Like those days of like the fully split crowds and people booing him and people being sick of him. I mean, that really was like 10 plus years ago. And so I can understand people being, or feeling as if, well, it just felt maybe a little forced, or it would have been better back then. Of course it would have been better back then. He should have gone heel that year. It would have been amazing. And I think this is the exact promo that he would have cut. Or if not in 2012, maybe in 2013, when he cut that promo after he lost to Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam, and he had that golf ball in his arm, and he came out the next night and said, I got to go away and have surgery on my triceps. And the crowd greeted him with yes chants. And they were very happy that John Cena was going away. This man just spilled his guts to them and said, I'm going away to have surgery. And they cheered. So there were so many opportunities to cut this very promo where it would have made even more sense a long time ago. I can understand people feeling that would have been more appropriate. It still works here, though, because this is his last year. And I look at it as he kicked Cody in the balls at Elimination Chamber. And with one kick to the crotch, everybody turned on him. And they started booing him. And that was sort of the source of the anger that we saw last night, where it's like, I've tried to do everything for you people. This is for me. He said it after the Rumble when he lost, right? I have to go to WrestleMania to win number 17 because it's what's best for business. And he didn't address that last night. He never mentioned best for business. He never mentioned number 17. That was definitely a glaring omission. And I also feel like we have 2 more weeks of him on TV. He's going to need some material. And so I would hope it comes up at some point in the next couple of weeks, because it's kind of a big deal, right? He's trying to, break the record and win number 17. But I'm looking at it like maybe that's part of it here, where is there a feeling of resentment and jealousy towards Cody, where I used to be in your shoes. I won the championship for the first time, and it wasn't that long after that these people started booing me. They were sick of me because he would win. That's what he said last night. Yeah. I win and I win and I win. And so that's where the whole let's go Cena, Cena sucks thing comes from. Here's Cody. He's almost a year into his run. Do you hear people booing Cody when he comes out on TV?
No.
Do you hear people saying, let's go Cody, Cody sucks when he comes out on TV?
Nope.
No. Fans still love him. He's beloved. And so maybe that's part of the story they can tell, which is you treat him like this beloved figure, and yet you shit all over me, and I took all your abuse for all those years. Now I kick Cody in the balls and you boo me. Fuck you. So there's that sort of resentment maybe towards Cody. I wish it would have been also a little more focused maybe on him being maybe desperate, to win number 17, because in his mind he feels like I have to do this, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. And if you don't like it, tough shit. I wish they would have maybe leaned more into the desperation story, which doesn't seem to be what they're doing. But I still very much enjoyed the promo. It's a side of John Cena I never thought I would see. People have waited years for heel John Cena. Now you're getting it. And they didn't give you everything in one night, but he's going to have a couple more appearances these next few weeks to flesh that out. As far as Cody goes, I love that he left the floor to Cody. He could have mopped the fucking floor with him if he wanted to last night. He said, kid. He started to walk towards him. Cody cut him off. I don't think Cena said another word. He just stood there and took it. So he let Cody have his moment. Cody called him a bitch. He had his mic drop moment, and he left. Because we know, like, John Cena could ether him on the microphone if he really wanted to.
Well, that's what I was expecting some of that last night. We didn't get it. I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing that we didn't get it, because they're going to be under the same roof again in Scotland next week.
Yep.
Maybe we get it then. We get John Cena's rebuttal. Why give it all away in one night? Like, you could look at what happened last night and said Cody is a bitch. So why is Cody a bitch? Look what happened to him at the Elimination Chamber. He was left beaten and bloody. Why didn't he come out last night and go right towards Cena and beat the hell out of him? Shouldn't that have been the first thing that he did?
Yeah.
Any other normal person would come out. Oh, there he is. There's the guy who turned on me and beat me to a bloody pulp. Let me stand in the ring and smile and cut promos with, like, no, go in there and kick his ass. He didn't do that. Now I know why he didn't do that, because they want to save that for later on. But like, you can. That's a valid critique if that's how you feel. That maybe Cody, again, he came off well, but maybe he also came off like a bit of a bitch, because why didn't he attack John Cena?
Well, I do think that we're going to get something that we got reminiscent of last year, where Rock famously beat the shit out of Cody in front of his American Nightmare tour bus in the rain. I think we're going to get something like that. Like I think we talked about it last week. I think we will see Rock one last time before WrestleMania on television, whether it's a Raw or SmackDown. And I do think that we'll get something close to that again this year. We have to.
But what I was thinking that we might get last night was Cody knows he's under the same roof with Cena. First time since Toronto. He wants a piece of this guy, and you've got a wall of security. Like Adam Pearce is out there, you got a wall of security to get in between them, and Cody is angry, and you could do the same exact promo that you did last night and let Cody, say what he wants to say, and Cena doesn't have to respond. But at least there's like a barrier in between them, right? And Adam Pearce is like, no, this is our WrestleMania main event. I know you're angry, Cody. I know you want to get your hands on him, but not now, not tonight. And so they didn't do that. And I think that might have been the better way to go, because then at least it's like, all right, Cody is dying to get his hands on this guy after what he did to him. I mean, Cody came out 2 weeks ago and said he had to lie to his 4-year-old daughter. Like, this is personal. So you can understand why people would be upset maybe that he didn't come out and he wasn't angrier and wanting to, like, physically assault this man.
Well, maybe Cody looks at John Cena still as that hero he always thought he was, but he's now being corrupted by The Rock, and really he wants to give him an opportunity to explain himself, but really knows deep down that The Rock has put him up to this, and it's The Rock's fault that this all happened. Maybe he didn't want to do that because of that reason.
They could argue that in the story, I guess, but I still feel like it would have been better to have someone out there to stop Cody from getting his hands on Cena and put a little bit of distance in between them. Even if they were in the ring together, maybe Cody's not in the aisle, Cena's in the ring. Maybe they're both in the ring, but there's some barrier in between them to at least explain why Cody is not just going after this guy because he's just that upset and wants to get his hands on him. But again, Cody still came out of the segment looking good. Cena, he let him have the floor. He could have destroyed him the way he destroyed Austin Theory a few years ago. There's still time for that to happen because Cena hasn't had his rebuttal yet. And I'm looking forward to, to what that is. But I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, I think that this is something that had to happen.
Yeah.
You can't have babyface John Cena against babyface Cody Rhodes. They're just too similar. It would have been boring. Somebody had to go heel. It wasn't going to be Cody. It had to be John Cena. So they're doing the right thing. They just took a very different approach than what I thought they would. But it was still great, and it was in front of the right audience. I mean, that segment was 32 minutes.
I know.
And it still didn't feel long enough.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get everything that we were hoping to get. And then we didn't even mention Michael Cole after the segment was over. I was curious if they were going to have him say anything because they've established they're good friends. And he's always putting him over on commentary. He's the greatest of all time. And so, yeah, they put the camera on Michael Cole when it was over, and he called him, he called him a prick. Yeah. Yeah, he called him a prick and said that, you're blaming the fans. They're the ones that have made you this multimillionaire movie star. And so I like that. That was a nice little touch there to add. Now, maybe they'll have Cena do to Michael Cole what Stone Cold did to JR after they turned Austin heel back in 2001.
Yeah. I was looking at this last night, and I thought one of the theories that I discussed was, obviously we know Cena's not going to be heel for the duration of this retirement tour. He's going back to babyface. Did you get a glimpse, or did you feel that maybe with him standing in the ring, watching Cody walk away, and he had nothing else to say when he had every opportunity to say something into the microphone, Cody walked away. Do you think that John Cena is contemplating the decisions that he's made now, watching Cody walk away, and that this heel turn and heel run is only going to last up until WrestleMania, and then we get Cena back to old Cena after WrestleMania, or do you think it's going to go on longer? Because I do think that it needs to go on longer, and I said, and I'm going to stick with this, I think Cena should win the WWE Championship, he should win 17, and he should take the title into at least the beginning stages of the summer.
I'm going to be very disappointed if it only goes to WrestleMania. A lot of people have been waiting so long for this, and he's going to be here for the duration of the year, that I feel like to just end it at WrestleMania would be a huge waste. And you're going into St. Louis for Backlash in May, and if the main event of that show is not John Cena against Randy Orton, then what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, that has to be the main event on that show. And it doesn't even need to be for the title. I think it should be. It should be Cena as a heel defending against babyface Randy in Randy's hometown. Imagine what the atmosphere would be for that match. But even if it's not for the title, like, you're in St. Louis. They had Randy Orton in the video on their Twitter page to make the announcement that Backlash was coming to St. Louis. How do you not do John Cena versus Randy Orton?
I mean, they were quick to do fucking Randy Orton versus Javon Evans in St. Louis on NXT. You're not going to give me Randy Orton versus John Cena in St. Louis? Come on, man.
But Randy Orton in his hometown as a babyface against a heel John Cena.
Yeah, that works.
It has to happen. So I'm going to be very disappointed if it just ends at WrestleMania and he turns on the Rock and he realizes the error of his ways, because what a waste. At least take it into the summer is what I say.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't win the title, then he doesn't win the title. He doesn't have to immediately go back to being a babyface. But I'm with you. I think that as a heel, Cena with the title for a few months could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. I thought everything was exactly the way that it needed to be last night. Are we a little disappointed that we, the fans, didn't get aspects of what we wanted out of a John Cena heel turn? Yes. I think everybody has a right to be disappointed. Nobody's saying you can't be. But John Cena really made a great case for why he didn't want to do any of that. And I love that they brought that aspect into the promo. Like Jason said, John Cena had not only the 2 weeks, he probably sat on this for the last fucking decade. So,
oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Nikki Bella said something in regards to this. I just seen this not too long ago. Nikki Bella said in regards to his heel turn, and Nikki and John Cena were an item at one point. It was so well done to end your farewell tour and turn into a character that the fans have wanted for so long. It's not only, I think, going to be fun for him, but how great for the fans. It's like a gift he's giving. You know what I mean? I think it's so cool. It was amazing. Yeah, it is a gift. John Cena wanted this. He was denied. Fans wanted it. They were denied. Cena said, exactly what Michael Cole said, but Michael Cole was playing it off that Cena was the opposite. Cena looks at us and is thankful for what we did for him. And this, I truly believe that this is John Cena giving back to us. And I think John Cena is going to see this shit play out the way that it was intended to play out 10 years ago. So I agree with her. I think it is a gift for the fans. And I appreciate that aspect of John Cena. It just shows that John Cena truly loves where he came from and what he's done for the last 20 years. I love that.
And also, again, at the end of the day, it's also about getting Cody Rhodes over as an even bigger babyface.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, that's really what this also has to be. When this is all said and done, whether it's WrestleMania, whether Cody loses the belt and gets it back from Cena at SummerSlam, the final moment of this should be John Cena shaking hands with Cody Rhodes and effectively endorsing him. Now, they did the same thing in 2017 with Cena and Roman Reigns. And at the time, the fans were not ready to accept Roman Reigns in the spot. It was the John Cena thing all over again. Yeah. But it was such a brief thing. Like, they did it, what was it, No Mercy or whatever that show was. It was in September, I know that. And I think Cena had to leave to go do a movie, so he was like in and out. And that was almost like this is his passing of the torch. He's going to lose to Roman Reigns, who nobody wanted to see win anyway.
It was No Mercy, yeah.
It was No Mercy, and it didn't work. It just didn't work. Now they have the time to really take the time to tell that story where in the end, it'll mean something. When Cena loses or goes back to being a babyface, and he sort of anoints Cody, who's already been anointed in a lot of ways, as the guy. It'll mean more. It won't just be he's coming in for one match, 1 month. Okay, I'll lose to you. I'll do the job, shake your hand, and I'm off. Take the time, and if that means he beats Cody and Cody has to win it back, then so be it. There's nothing wrong with that. But this is an opportunity for them to take this guy, who was the babyface in this company for well over a decade, and truly use him to pass the torch to the man who now is effectively his replacement. Yeah. The only difference is, unlike back in 2017, the people like Cody and they accept him in this role, and you don't hear the boo birds like you did for Roman when he walks out.
Are you, I know this is completely off topic from John Cena, but I know you saw the report of Stone Cold Steve Austin being announced for WWE World in Las Vegas. He's going to be in Vegas, not 4 hours away at the Stone Cold Ranch. What do you make of that? You think a WrestleMania appearance is now certainly more plausible than it was 2 weeks ago?
I think it was plausible from the moment they announced WrestleMania was coming to Las Vegas. I mean, Austin said it last year. He did some interview last year and said, look, they're going to be 400. It's a 400-mile drive, which for a wrestler, I'm sure, is nothing. He can get in his, he has like a buggy. He can get in his buggy and drive to WrestleMania and drive back. So I always expected him to be there. Now they just made it formal that he'll be doing a signing, I think that's Saturday and Sunday. He's going to be on the show. Is he going to be involved in the main event? I don't know. But is he going to be at WrestleMania? I'd be shocked if he wasn't. I hope they can, even if the plan is for Cena to win, I hope they can create a moment that we didn't get last year where even if Cena's going to win, like, you can figure something out. Like The Rock is going to get involved. Let him stun The Rock or something and get The Rock out of there. And then the main event can play out however it's going to play out. But do I think he'll be involved? As long as physically, with his knee and everything, he can be a part of the show in that way. I have every expectation that he's going to be a part of the show this year.
Glass has got to shatter. And we got to get a stunner somewhere to someone, whether it's The Rock or Cena or somebody.
You want to see
Travis
a reaction?
Scott?
You want to see a reaction? Like in the middle of that main event, Cody's in peril and the glass shatters?
As long as it's not too close to what we did last year. I don't want like the fucking superheroes coming to the rescue here,
No, I mean, that was their version of Avengers Endgame is what that was. It doesn't have to be Endgame. Like, I don't want to see 6 different people run out.
Yeah.
But again, if we're going to see Rock out there, let's say, even if he's just in Cena's corner, or he makes himself referee, who knows? I'm sure Rock will be involved in some way. There's got to be somebody to help fend him off. And who better than Stone Cold?
Listen, I like it. This Cena thing was great last night. Very much looking forward to next week's show. They will be in Italy, I think, on Friday, and Scotland on Monday. So
Bologna, Italy on Friday. Now, you said there's a 4:00 start.
4 p.m. 4 p.m. start for Friday. No, Monday show. I think it's a 3 p.m. show on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, because next Monday it's 4 Eastern, and then I think in London the following week it's back to 3 o'clock.
I got to get myself a VPN. All the cool kids watching SmackDown fucking at 3 o'clock last week.
That's how it has to be done.
I know.
That's what I did.
I'm the geek watching at 8 o'clock, going live at 11. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here, man?
I got a code for you.
I know you do. Cheap plug. You can plug it if you want. Get 3 months, 3 months free with Solomonster's code.
4 months.
4 months. Look at that.
It's up to 4 months now.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm telling you, man, expressvpn.com/Solomonster. Like with all these international shows, just like the first 3 months of this year, man.
I know.
I've gotten so much use out of this.
It's great. I'm going to have to look into that. Seriously.
Fantastic.
Monday Night Raw was, it wasn't a must-see affair outside John Cena. I mean, the main event was fine. Anything Gable is fucking great. And Penta's great. He wrestled Kaiser again last night, beat him. He has now made his WrestleMania intentions known, Jason. He wants the Intercontinental Championship, and it looks like WWE is possibly setting up Penta versus Braun Breaker one-on-one, or I would not be surprised to see a multi-man match. But with the rumor that we're getting a triple threat with Punk, Rollins, and Reigns, and then a triple threat with Rhea, Io, and Bianca, I don't think we need any more multi-person matches. I would much rather see Breaker and Penta one-on-one, and then whatever they do with Finn and Dominic one-on-one, being that would probably be more story-rich than match. How do you feel about the direction possibly for Penta going after the IC title?
I mean, it feels to me like maybe a 4-way is in the works, where you get Breaker, you get Penta, you get Finn, and you get Dom all involved in this. Instead of breaking them off separately, you get them all involved in the same match. That was my feeling coming out of the show. Look, I feel on SmackDown, there's a decent chance we get LA Knight, Jimmy Uso, and Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania. I'm not convinced that we're even going to get Solo Sikoa in a match. I think he may factor into the match, and then they could do Solo and Jacob at Backlash coming out of the show.
Yeah.
But I was even feeling triple threat could be in the works for the U.S. title at WrestleMania. So all of these triple threats and fatal 4-ways that we're sort of speculating in fantasy booking, keep in mind that there is not a single multi-man match that has been announced yet for WrestleMania. So all of even Roman and Punk and Seth, that might be made on Friday, but like nothing is official yet. But the way things are shaping up, I wouldn't be shocked if we get a 3-way for the U.S. title, over on the SmackDown side. We should talk also about Jay and Gunther in a second, but I just wanted to mention, you mentioned we had the no-holds-barred match with Penta and Kaiser, and it was good. But I mentioned this last night, like Penta now is 2 months into his run, and he's undefeated as far as these, singles or multi-man matches go. And he's had about half a dozen matches so far. At least half of those matches have involved the same 3 people. It's Chad Gable, Ludwig Kaiser, Pete Dunne.
Yep.
We got to move on.
Said the same thing. Yep.
We got to move on from this.
Yeah, he just to give you a glimpse of what he's done so far, because I pulled up Cage Match because I knew exactly where you were going. Chad Gable, which was fucking great. That was the debut on the 13th of January. Pete Dunne, he was in the Royal Rumble. He was the Iron Man in the Royal Rumble.
42 minutes, I think.
Yep. He wrestled Kaiser on the February 3rd episode. He beat Grayson Waller on main event. People made a big stink about that online. I mean, just whatever. He wrestled Pete Dunne again on the 17th of February. Then he wrestled Kaiser and Dunne in a triple threat match on the 24th of February. He wrestled Chad Gable again at a house show, Chad Gable again, and then Kaiser again, no holds barred yesterday. So yeah, a lot of his matches were with Ludwig Kaiser. It's like,
I mean, it's the same combination of guys. It's like, all right, it's great that he's beaten all of them, and that's all well and good, but like, it's time to move on to some fresh opponents.
Well, at least he's getting a championship match through the means of the W. At least he's won matches to say, hey, I want the IC title now. I deserve a match. Great. Okay.
And also, his promos have been really good.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting them to be this good because we just never had the chance to see him cut promos on a weekly basis. And obviously, English is not his first language, but like, again, he has a charisma about him. That coupled with the promo ability that he does have is a big part of why I think the WWE fan base has connected with him so quickly, because he hasn't been on TV for that long. But like the promo last night, he was all fired up. He thanked the fans in Belgium and made his intentions clear for the title and did his catchphrase. And so his promos have been a lot better than I was expecting them to be. So, I mean, he's been firing on all cylinders. And I guess the question now is, do you put the title on him at WrestleMania?
I think we do, yeah.
I think you do too.
I like that the hand gesture and the chant gets over overseas, but not so much here in the United States. We got to pick up the volume here in the United States when he does the Zero Miedo, you know? I don't know what it is with us fans.
These international crowds, they usually do put the U.S. crowds to shame. Yeah. And now we're having so many international shows in a 1 month period. That first week in April when they're back in the States, man, I don't know where they're going to be. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but wherever they're going to be, those people are going to have to bring it.
I think there's a Chicago and Boston date in there somewhere.
All right, well, that's good. Chicago is one of the better wrestling cities, so that's good.
So we got Penta going after the IC title. Io Sky, Bianca Belair contract signing. This ended with Rhea Ripley signing the contract as well after Bianca and Io signed it. And I said last night, Jason, I'm sure you mentioned as well because you're quite the historian, Triple H is taking a page out of his own playbook with HBK at WrestleMania 20, where Shawn Michaels did the same thing.
And it was dumb then, and it was dumb last night.
It's fucking. Why wouldn't anybody sign? I mean, you could have 9 different women sign the contract. Where are they?
Well, it would be like if your best friend was closing on their new home, and they went to go sign the papers, and here you pull up in your dark horse, right, and you crash the closing, and you run up and you grab the friggin' mortgage paperwork, you have the contract, and you sign your name to it, and you're like, this is my house now, right? Like fucking Soraya. This is my house now.
Like that scene at a Happy Gilmore when Shooter McGavin went to the auction and he starts flaunting the fucking the detail. It's my house now. Maybe I'll turn Grandma's room into a fucking trophy room.
Yeah. I own this house now. This belongs to me. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work. And thankfully, they had Adam Pearce immediately say, no, it doesn't work that way. And actually, he's exactly what he said last night. Like, you're acting like a child.
Yeah.
And what did I say a few weeks ago? I said Charlotte Flair was right when she called Rhea, you're still a kid. You're a child. Yep. And she proved it last night. But they left it open-ended. It's very clear she's going to end up, challenging for the title. And all they need to do, honestly, is just have Io Sky go to Adam Pearce next week on Raw and say, look, I want her in this match.
Yeah.
Like, Bianca Belair has a reason to pitch a fit because it's her shot. But Io's a fighting champion. All it takes is her to go to Adam Pearce and say, add her to the match.
Well, she did say in the backstage brawl yesterday, stay away from her. She's mine. And she pushed Io out of the way and started going after Rhea. So at this point, Bianca might not even mind that she's in the match just to prove a point.
Well, maybe not. But again, they don't have to overcomplicate this. I think it'll be an easy solution. You add her to the match because everybody already knows she's going to be in the match. But yeah, I mean, it was so goofy, but I was happy they at least addressed this doesn't work this way. She's not in the match because she wrote her name in the corner of the contract that doesn't even have her name on it.
Is it possible that we get this match to main event night 1? Is that a real possibility, or are we going somewhere else? Because I know, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit, WrestleMania 20, Madison Square Garden. Do you think they're looking at this similar to what they're doing there, main event night 1 here in WrestleMania?
I think there's a chance.
Okay.
I mean, until we know like what matches are going to be on which night. If they have Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins on night 1, I think you headline with that because it's the bigger match. But people would look at it and go, yeah, but the other match has a championship on the line, and it involves somebody who won either the Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber, and so it should be them. And it's honestly the 3 biggest women. I mean, you could say Liv Morgan too, I guess, but the 3 biggest female performers at the moment in the company. I think there is a chance that they could headline night 1.
Jey Uso, he wrestled Austin Theory. The match didn't even go 30 seconds, and it was over. I don't know why this was even a thing, but I don't know what Austin Theory did to somebody in the back or if he did anything at all for this type of treatment, but that is what happened on Monday Night Raw. Jey Uso, he was the brunt of social media last night and all the negativity. They took it off of me for a little bit to go give it to Jey Uso. Apparently, Jason, he got mass thumbs down on the clip that they put on the YouTube channel for whatever they did here with him and Gunther and him and Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. And then people are now complaining that Jey Uso is not good enough to be in the main event of WrestleMania after his apparent botch where they labeled him Flop Dollar Part 2 last night.
Well, I saw that apparently on the clip they posted on their YouTube channel, I guess the dislikes are up to 52,000.
Something
now.
Like that, yeah.
Which, again, I don't know that that's a barometer for the way that everybody feels about Jey Uso. Look, it was an embarrassing moment. He didn't build up enough momentum. He went to do a flip dive out over the top rope, and he got caught up on the top rope, and he's lucky he didn't break his neck on the landing on the apron. And I think he knew right away, like you could tell he was embarrassed. And he got in the ring and he's like, I'm okay. And it's just going to fan the flames because there are already a lot of people who don't think he should be in this spot. And I will tell you that when he won the Royal Rumble, I was one of the people who said, look how over he is. Yeah. Like, I had no issue with him winning the Rumble. It was nice to have someone different also for a change win the Royal Rumble. And you can't dispute his popularity right now. And there is a story to be told there where he's already lost to this man 3 times. And he said after the last loss, I know I can beat him. And so it seems like such a simple story to tell. The problem is everything they've done since then. This thing is dying on the vine.
It is.
It is going downhill fast. And they got to do something to heat this up. And one way they could do that is by having Gunther go out there and just fucking destroy Jimmy. I think he needs to make it personal, either Jimmy or Rikishi, but I think you bring the family into it and you do an angle where he goes after Jay's blood. He goes after his family and really gets Jay angry because, Jay comes out every week and he's kind of angry. Oh, everyone doubts me. He's been saying that for weeks. Okay, yes, we get it. People doubt you. What are you going to do about it? He needs to get even angrier. And Gunther has said, I'm going to make your life a living hell, right? He said that weeks ago. These next 10 weeks, if you pick me for WrestleMania, I'm going to make your life a living hell. So what does he do? Every week he comes out, he sneaks up behind him, he puts him in a sleeper hold. Okay, we've seen that for like 3 or 4 weeks now. Now it's time to take it to the next level. And I think the way you do that is you have him go after probably Jimmy. But I mean, if he was to go after his father, I mean, that would also be, pretty personal, I'd say. That's what I would do, because you can't keep doing the same angle over and over again because you got 4 more weeks. You got to change it up. You got to do something here. And right now, if you were to ask me, do I think this match has a chance of headlining night 1 of WrestleMania? Does this feel like a night 1 main event or a night 2 main event?
Absolutely. Nowhere close.
Feels like a mid-card match.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. They keep turning their wheels here. Nothing creative whatsoever. It feels like they got from the Rumble and to WrestleMania. That's all they know. They give Jey Uso the Rumble. We'll give him the title win at WrestleMania. Everything else in between, we'll just take it day by day, week by week. It's like, listen, man, you got to do more than that. Him feuding with fucking A-Town Down Under, 2 glorified jobbers.
Yeah, well, that does. Well,
it doesn't help.
That's a great point. Not only feuding with A-Town Down Under, but what did I say last week? Palling around with Alpha Academy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like that, no wonder it feels like a mid-card match. It doesn't feel like a main event. I mean, look at the people he's associating with. Look at the way that they have built this up over the last few weeks. That's why it feels this way. So it's time to just shake things up and take it in a different direction, in a more personal direction, because I'm not sure what else you do with it.
I like your idea of just absolutely destroying Jimmy or his father. I think that would be great. I would love if they make it personal because that's exactly what it needs to be. And that is the best selling point for a championship match like this at WrestleMania. Now, the tag team match that was announced last night is happening next week on Monday. It's going to be A-Town Down Under and Jey Uso with a mystery partner. Who the mystery partner is, I said it could be Jimmy. It could be fucking Otis for all we know. Social media tends to think, Jason, that we're potentially getting Joe Hendry teaming because it's in Scotland. I think that would be great, but I don't know what the affiliation or fucking friendship is there with Jey Uso. It would be there is none. It would be a great pop.
But I'm a big fan of yours.
But what does it have to do with the overall story between Jey and Gunther? Unless it leads to I don't know.
No, nothing. I mean, it could be him. I suppose. I mean, I hadn't thought about that because again, it doesn't really fit into the story. Jimmy would make the most sense. It would also be the most obvious choice.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, why even bother announcing a mystery partner? That's the one thing that makes me think it's not Jimmy. If it was Jimmy, you would just say Jimmy and Jay. An Usos reunion back together, right? The fact that they're doing the mystery man thing tells me that it's probably somebody else. So is it somebody, I mean, Theory and Waller, or what enemies do they have? I don't think it's anybody.
Who could it? Maybe somebody from NXT. Last time Theory and Waller were on NXT, they wrestled Obafemi. Obafemi, maybe? I don't know. I don't. None of it makes sense. None of it is interesting. It's sad. Like, we're gonna have this huge, great, emotional WrestleMania moment, and Jay's like, I have to wrestle the match of my life, and people are gonna be shocked. I'm gonna bring it. I mean, brother, you're not bringing it with 4 weeks left to go. Creative ain't bringing it. How are you gonna bring it in the match? you're not really giving people a lot of hope. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and again, I wouldn't put it all on him, but this is the direction that they're going with it. You know, he's not booking the show. And last night, yeah, it was a bad moment, but I'm not gonna, eviscerate the guy for it. I'm sure he feels bad. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he feels bad enough. Now, it's not like he's going out there every week and doing that. Now, if that started to happen, that would be different. So I don't hold that over his head, but this whole thing, it's falling off a cliff, and we still have 4 weeks left to go, and there has to be some sort of change made to really just take this to a different level. That's what I would do. I mean, Gunther's coming out there every week and talking about how Jay is a joke. He called Jimmy, what did he say? Because he confronted Jimmy on Friday, and he said that you're as, what do you say, as stupid or immature as your brother? I forgot exactly.
As dumb as your brother is. You're just as dumb as he is.
You're just as dumb as Jay is. So I think him attacking Jimmy is the play here. But him going after the family, it makes sense. He can, even if he confronted Rikishi was a special guest on the show, and he wanted to confront Gunther for all the things he's been saying about his son.
Yeah.
And he said, like, he could go off on Rikishi and say, you had a long career and you were never a world champion because you were a disappointment. Like, it would fit with the way that he's been speaking about, Jay and his family. He's got to make it personal. I just think that's the way to go with this.
Listen, if you're going to end Gunther's reign, it's got to go out in a blaze of glory. So I hope it doesn't end on him limping into this story with Jay into WrestleMania. Rikishi, Jimmy, something, both of them, something's got to happen. So that's happening on Monday. We'll see who that mystery partner is. Joe Hendry, Otis, Jimmy, and someone from NXT. I don't know.
Jay, obviously friends with Sami Zayn. We haven't seen Sami since the Elimination Chamber. I don't know if Sami's going to be back before WrestleMania. They may leave him off the card, so maybe it's not him. But I just feel like if it was going to be Jimmy, why even bother announcing a mystery partner?
Yeah, that makes sense. The Creeds, Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee. That was fun for the 6 minutes that it was. But Chad Gable, the masked man, we don't really know if it's Gable. Apparently, Corey Graves doesn't know if it's Chad Gable or not. Michael Cole tends to think it is. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Michael Cole does, but like on commentary, we got a Del Wilkes reference, and we got a Tom Brady reference because he took the gimmick over years ago, and then he said, or maybe they sold the gimmick to somebody, and I'm like, Corey, I'm pretty sure it's not Del Wilkes.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I appreciate Corey Graves, but a good Del Wilkes fucking mention on Monday Night Raw is always a good thing.
I mean, it's nice to get a Del Wilkes mention, but it would be a great magic trick if he was able to resurrect Del Wilkes from the dead. So I don't think it's him under the mask, but I'm amused by the Gable luchador stuff. I hope they do go with Grande Americano. I can't not laugh when I say that out loud. It's just so ridiculous.
It's like fucking like Grandpa's Starbucks order. Grande Americano, please.
Yeah. Let's get a Grande Americano. Because I mean, of all the people on the Raw roster, Grande is not a word I would associate with Chad Gable. That's what makes it so great.
Well, he's trying to get back at all the fucking discourse he had as he was Shorty G. Now he's Grande.
I guess that makes sense.
Grande Americano, Shorty G.
God, I tried to put that out of my head, and you had to bring up Shorty G.
Well, I mean, Starbucks does have a drink size called short, so that's why.
Well, you would know.
Yeah.
You're Mr. Coffee over here.
So yeah, Chad Gable, Grande Americano. They trademarked that name. It's not official yet, but I hope it is. I actually quite find that humorous. He came out there and was chased off again by security. So we don't know exactly what's going on with him and WrestleMania, but we talked about earlier in the show, Phoenix could be a possibility to team with the LWO or a mix of the LWO versus the team of Gable and the New Day, who we will see on Monday coming up. We don't know, but Gable deserves a WrestleMania match and a good one at that, so hopefully they do right by him for sure. Rollins was on the show last night. He didn't really say much of anything outside of the fact that he said that he would have done the same thing that Roman Reigns did in the steel cage at Madison Square Garden with CM Punk, and that, again, he has to clean up after Roman Reigns' messes like he usually did when they were in the Shield. Well, all this was, Jason, was basically Rollins being a hype man and an infomercial for SmackDown. Hey, I'll be on Friday Night SmackDown because these two other guys are going to be over there, so I'll see you over there, but I'm not going to say anything more than that on this show. I didn't like that at all, man. If you're going to do something and have one of the main characters in one of the biggest matches you're doing at WrestleMania on this show, you should have at least something happen that's substantial here instead of using him as a commercial for Friday. I don't like that at all.
The only thing that differentiates this from what they did with Paul Heyman on Friday is that people wanted to see Seth because he's a star and they wanted to sing his song.
Yeah.
So they were able to sing the stupid song and they were at least able to get that. The Paul Heyman segment on Friday was worse. I mean, we know how great of a promo Paul Heyman is. That was the worst Paul Heyman promo that I have ever seen. He actually killed the crowd. There was no reason to send him out there. You could have done that in a video package. You could have had a 60-second or a 2-minute video package that they would have aired of him saying what he said about, Roman Reigns. He's going to be on the show next week in Italy. He's not here tonight. And play the video game. That was literally the entire purpose of that segment last Friday. Roman will be back, but next week. And by the way, he's on the cover of the video game. Go play the video game when my segment is over. And so when the segment was over, people were booing and he killed the crowd. Like, that segment sucked. This segment was very similar, but at least the people got to see Seth Rollins. And he was standing in the ring for like 3 minutes at the beginning of this while they sang his song. So at least they feel like they got their money's worth in that respect, I guess. I'm still sitting here wondering what the hell the point of that segment was on Friday.
Yeah, I don't know. That was one of the more disappointing Paul Heyman segments that we've seen in recent memory.
No, it was the worst. It was the worst segment that he has been involved in.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why people have been very heavy on the criticism for this season's WrestleMania build, because you get shit like that. It's like, what the fuck are they stalling for? I mean, give me every I'm not saying every segment needs to be like, oh my God, man, I can't miss this. But give me something with the main characters. You're using them as like a stepping stool to the next show. Come on, man, it's lazy.
Because they're not there. They're not on all the shows. So they have to stall. Roman's not here this week. Cena's not here this week. Rock's not here this week. Punk's not here this week, but he'll be here next week. Like, I had one person write into me who went to the show. Shout out to Ronnie. He was at the show in Belgium yesterday. And he had fun. He said it was a fun show, but he was really disappointed. The one guy he really wanted to see was CM Punk, who's a Raw guy. And he not only was he not on Raw, he's going to be on fucking Smackdown this week, which of course he didn't know that when he bought tickets. So he was disappointed. I'm like, you know what? He's got a point.
Yeah.
Punk's a Raw guy, and you're going to the show, and not only is he not there, he's going to be on the other show this week. And that's the problem. They're trying to juggle all these different guys for various reasons. Cena's filming a movie, Roman, I don't know what Roman's doing, but they're just not around full time. And so you get segments like this where they have to stretch and literally, dude, Rollins, let's take him, right? Rollins was out there last night. That segment, it had to be from start to finish. When he walked out, they went to commercial and they came back and everybody was singing the song. From start to finish, it was probably 15 minutes.
I know.
He said, like, what he said, it was like 2 minutes of substance.
I know. It's bad.
It's terrible. It makes for terrible television. I mean, people will justify it by saying, oh, WWE's hot. Everybody was singing the song. That's great. But I'm just saying, as far as a television show, it fucking sucks. No, It's terrible. It's awful.
So yeah, that was that. So we'll get something hopefully substantial with all of them in the building on Friday in Italy. And then the main event was Braun Breaker, Finn Balor. Balor did not, predictably, win the championship. Breaker is still the champion.
Pin Balor.
Pin Balor. Remember that
trip.
Yeah, he did. Remember there was a report, I don't know who it was from, that Balor is being lined up for a major push in 2025.
Huh. Who said that?
Still, I don't know who it came from.
That Meltzer?
It might have been Featherstone or one of them. I don't know.
Well, we're still waiting on that.
But Braun Breaker retained the championship. This was thanks to the Judgment Day's miscue. Obviously, Dom and Carlito were out there. Things went haywire, and Balor lost because of all the chaos on the outside. And then after the match, after the what I thought was one of his weaker spears, he didn't really spear Balor all that Braun Breaker-esque, but after the spear, 1, 2, 3, and then Penta showed up and they had to stare down to close the show. Very underwhelming ending to the show. I get it. They made that very well known in the beginning. I know they wanted the visual with both of them in the ring. I mean, I just felt like it was a good match with a kind of ending. But man, I don't know where we go with Breaker. If we're doing Penta, if we're doing a multi-man match like we talked about before. I'm not genuinely interested as far as, oh my God, man, this is a WrestleMania match I can't wait to see. I'm not there yet. I don't know how you feel. I just feel like they're they're still undecided on what they do, on what they want to do, and they're just slowly piecing together as they go. I don't know if that is the right way to feel about WrestleMania, but that's what I feel like they're doing.
Well, I mean, you're not there yet because they only first teased the match yesterday. I mean, outside of that one segment from what was it, a month and a half ago when they had that little exchange in the back, and then it looked like they got away from it. So they only first had Penta go out there and make his intentions known last night. So now we'll see how they build this up. Like you said, it may end up being a multi-man match. I came out of the show thinking a 4-way for the Intercontinental title, but we'll see. You know, we'll see if it ends up as a 4-way or a 3-way or a singles match. You know, they had a segment with Dom and Balor last night in the back where Dom again said we should add a new member. And he's like, well, who do you suggest? And he said Penta. And Balor just, you know, went off on him. You know, this is the guy who wants my Intercontinental title, and you want to add him to the group? Like, you're a snake. And he walked off, and Carlito's like, dude, do you watch the show? Dom's like, oh, I had no idea that Penta had just said, literally in the previous segment, that he wants to go after the title. And I looked at that as he knew exactly what he was doing. He's not stupid. Like, he said that to set Balor off. They're still building towards an explosion of some kind between Balor and Dom. Whether that ends with Dom, you know, kicking him out and taking over the Judgment Day, they bring a new member in. That remains to be seen. But yeah, just doing Balor against Dom at WrestleMania, I think it's more realistic that they would be part of another match. And then whatever the breakdown is between them, it takes place during the match, and it kind of cancels them out. Yeah, that's how I see it going down.
I could see that. I could see that being the case. Yeah, Monday Night Raw last night was okay by Raw standards. Yeah, it was average. The crowd were the MVPs for sure.
It was a very average show. If you take out the John Cena stuff, I mean, this was just this was nothing. Yeah, I mean, this was nothing. So that was the story of the night. And look, the John Cena segment, whatever he's doing, is always going to be the big segment on the show. But yeah, you put this in front of almost any other, you know, quote unquote normal crowd, and this show is not good.
Speaking of not good, we'll end with some AEW discussion here. I know I made my opinions known for AEW Dynamite last week. I thought that was absolutely inexcusable for what they did with Dynamite last week. Now, we got a decent show on paper, what looks to be a decent show on paper for tomorrow night. We got Cope and Moxley in a street fight for the AEW World Championship, a title that we have not seen physically since October, since Wrestle Dream. And we got Statlander versus Megan Bayne. And I think we got a fatal 4-way with the International Championship hanging in the balance to wrestle Kenny Omega at the pay-per-view coming up at Dynasty.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, the story of Dynamite last week, we had a main event of Orange Cassidy against Hechicero.
Yeah.
That was the main event of the show.
Yeah.
Hechicero had not appeared on AEW television since November, and that was on Rampage.
Yeah.
And so he was in the main event on Wednesday. I mean, that says it all. So they did this little tournament. We have a 4-way match coming up tomorrow night. The winner goes on to challenge Kenny Omega at Dynasty. It's going to be Orange Cassidy. It's going to be Ricochet. It's going to be Speedball Mike Bailey, who made his debut last Wednesday, and Mark Davis. And Mark Davis, you know, people are saying, oh, it's an upset or a mild upset. Not really. I mean, when you really look at it, Mark Davis is the only heel in the match. Well, actually, I take that back. Ricochet's in there. But Mark Davis is the one, because I think Ricochet's going to win. Mark Davis is in there very likely to take the losing fall.
Yeah.
And also, if you look, when they put the graphic up, they have the flags underneath each guy to represent their, because it's the international 4-way. So, you know, for Ricochet and for Cassidy, you got the U.S. flag. For Speedball, you have the Canadian flag. So who are they going to put in the other spot? Is it going to be Mark Briscoe or Mark Davis? So Mark Davis is in there. That gives it some more international flavor. I get it. But he ain't winning shit. This is either Ricochet or Mike Bailey. And I don't think they're doing Kenny Omega and Speedball at Dynasty. So,
well, I mean, I won't put
not that they can't, but I don't think they are. I don't think they are. I think they want a heel in there, and so Ricochet is the one that makes sense.
I mean, is that going to work for Ricochet? Because I mean, you're just setting him up for an inevitable loss, and I feel like he should really be someone, if they're focusing on building his heel run, giving him some momentum underneath him. And I feel like after Swerve, you're going to put him in this, give him a win over Shibata, and then put him in this 4-way to have him win that, and then go to the pay-per-view and lose to Omega. What does that actually do? It's like you're just running around in circles.
So would you rather they put Speedball in there and have him lose his third match?
I would probably, if you held a gun to my head and asked me which one of these do you want, I'd probably go with Speedball, yeah.
All right, I think Ricochet wins.
Okay. We'll see what happens. I mean, either one. It's going to be either one of those guys. I think we know that for sure. But
because if Ricochet doesn't win, I mean, he doesn't have a pay-per-view match. Very likely, he's left off the show.
Yeah.
Because Swerve's moved on. Swerve's going to be in the main event.
Yeah.
So unless they start a brand new program with Ricochet in the next couple of weeks, I don't see any other. I mean, look, the show still was it April 6th, so we still have whatever it is, 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't see any other role for him on the show, and I think Ricochet is high enough up on the food chain right now that he should be in a match on that show.
I think with everything you said there, that makes the most sense. That's the reason why he'll probably win the match.
Yeah.
So Mike Bailey just got there. I mean, he doesn't need to be immediately thrown into something super important, so he could wait.
No. And again, babyface against babyface. I mean, they could do it, but. Yeah. I just don't think it's ideal to just throw him right in. I mean, he just debuted. He just debuted on the show last week. If you're going to do him and Omega, hold off on that. You could do that later on at some point.
Yeah. The rest of the show was not that much better on Wednesday. We had Brian Cage and released to go versus Hologram and Powerhouse Hobbs. I don't know why Powerhouse Hobbs is teaming with Hologram. I don't know why we're getting Harley Graham. I know she did that. It might have been earlier in the year in January, probably even before that.
It was in November. November. It was an episode. God, what was it? It might have been Rampage. They were doing some episode that was pretty much, it was almost like a lucha episode. And Hologram was out. He was hurt at the time. And so she just showed up. It was like backstage, and she showed up as Harley Graham, and she's wearing. Well, you have one of those $50.
Yeah, it's hanging on the door behind me.
Yeah, one of those little hologram replica masks. And I want to say she wrestled Thunder Rosa, and that was it. It was like a one-off thing, and I only know that because there were clips of it on Twitter. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I'm like, of all the people to put a mask on, they put a mask over Harley Cameron's face. I go, why would you do that? But it was like a one-off, goofy little thing, and so now we have Harley Graham back. I hope this was a one-off.
I don't know what their line of thinking is. You build this woman up with the best 4 weeks of television that she's had, maybe in her entire run, to build to a match against Mercedes, and it was not the best match, but I mean, it was a star-making performance as far as what she did with the television time she was given. It was okay. It was
fine.
Yeah,
the match was fine, and again, I would be using this time right now to build up Harley. Not that she can't do funny stuff, but like build her up in a more serious way and start racking up some real wins so that maybe by the time we get to Texas, she could challenge for the TBS title again and maybe win, because it wasn't the right time to do it last month.
Yeah.
But it could be in 3 or 4 or 5 months. If Harley Graham becomes a regular thing, then that goes out the window. So... I mean, I'm sorry. That's just not going to be something that, I'm going to take seriously as far as challenging for any title. So I would be building her up in that way.
Yeah, I don't know what their line of thinking is here with her. Hopefully they get back on track, because I think that is just a waste of time and a waste of talent. I don't know what Will Hobbs is doing either, teaming with. None of this makes sense to me. A lot of people were trying to sit me down and say, well, all the people that they wanted on the show were there in promo segments because of the matches that they had at the pay-per-view, like Tony and Mariah and Ospreay and Fletcher and all these different guys. I'm like, all right, so let's book less matches at the pay-per-view and maybe not have fucking gore and plunder in every fucking match, and maybe people would be ready to show up for work the next week. That's on the company to stop doing that shit.
Well, I think coming out of the show, I think Tony may have even said at the scrum, like he was going to have to wait and see who would be available, because he wasn't sure physically, like who would be cleared and who was hurt, who wasn't hurt. Tony Storm lost like half the blood in her fucking body. She was there though. She did. It's ridiculous, but she was there on Wednesday. Mariah May wasn't. I wasn't expecting Mariah to be on that show anyway. One of the things that they did that was good is they put Megan Bayne over like a monster. because she laid out Toni Storm, and then later on in the show, she laid out Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. And then on Collision, she laid out Thunder Rosa. So they're building her for a championship match, maybe a dynasty, with Toni Storm, and that's how you do it. You know, she's been unbeaten so far. She hasn't been there for very long, but she's unbeaten so far. She's mowing people down, and that's another match tomorrow night. They're going to do a rematch with her against Statlander on the show. So as far as utilizing her, they did a good job with that. That's how you build somebody up, you know, as a serious contender. I'm a little surprised they're going to her and Toni now. Feels a little quick.
I don't think that they ultimately will. I think that's a mistake to do that match one-on-one.
I mean, that was certainly the impression that I got coming out of the show. I mean, Toni Storm basically, it's like she laid down a challenge to all the women on the roster. And would you
beat Megan Bayne already in a match with Toni Storm one-on-one? Or would you do I predicted a fatal four with Toni, Megan, Stat, and Willow, and then they just figure it out from there. And Megan or Toni doesn't take the pinfall, which would leave Stat or Willow to take the pinfall. Because Toni did say she wanted an orgy.
She did, which, that's right, I forgot about that. Interesting choice of words there.
I'm only reiterating what she said.
Well, then, you know what? In that case, I vote for the orgy.
Okay.
Let's have the orgy at Dynasty.
All right.
And you can get them all in there.
I
like that idea.
All right. Megan Bayne should, I don't know how you feel about Megan Bayne. She needs to speak, no? Tell us who she is, why she's there, what she's about.
No, not right now. I don't think she has to. I think the silent but deadly is kind of working for her so far. I mean, at some point she will have to speak. Yeah,
well, she's getting no reactions. That's why I say that.
But she's been on TV. I mean, she's barely been on TV for that long. So I think the more people that she lays out, I think that will improve. I think going after the world champion was a step in the right direction if you want to, show your dominance. I don't think she needs to speak right now. I think you could still hold off on that for a little bit. If she is going to be programmed with Toni and they're going to have, let's say, a singles match, then she'll have to cut a promo. True. Maybe we'll get one in the next few weeks, but I don't think she has to start talking just yet. I think doing what they're doing now, I think will pay off if they continue to feature her in the way that they have. People will look at her when she comes out and feel like, Megan Bayne is here. And that's how she'll get over. And then when the time is right, she'll cut that first promo. I don't even know what she sounds like. Like as far as on like a televised promo. Obviously, she's. I mean, look, we've had her as champion in House of Glory, and she's wrestled a bunch of women, had some great matches, and I've heard her speak. I know what she sounds like, but I mean, like when Tony Schiavone puts that mic or Renee puts that microphone, in her face, because we just haven't seen it yet. It should be a big deal. Yeah. When the time comes. I don't think she has to speak right now.
All right. I know that's been a topic of discussion with me and Jesse on Wednesday. When is she going to speak? When is she going to speak? What is she going to say?
She'll speak. But I mean, it doesn't have to be this week or even next week. It's coming though, right? She'll have to speak at some point.
MJF, he spoke to Mr. MVP, and what I thought was, legitimately, this is when Dynamite for me got started. The first time it felt like an AEW show on Wednesday. What do you make of this, Jason? I know MJF is not joining the Hurt Syndicate. Is it going to be more along the lines of MJF is going to have business partners in the Hurt Syndicate to get where he needs to be, or is it more in theory mentally that MVP is going to pull the old MJF out of MJF that's been missing for the last 6 months? Which direction do you think they're going here?
Well, my thought was that it could be a little bit of number two. Okay. But my thought after I watched that last week was this could be a way to get the Young Bucks back on TV. Because if MJF, again, he's not joining the Hurt Syndicate, but if he's going to establish some sort of, like you said, business relationship with them and be aligned in some loose way with Lashley and Benjamin MVP, and he's obviously still making Hangman his target, Hangman may need some help, and that's how we get the Bucks back. And we may end up getting maybe a 3-on-3 match at some point with MJF, Benjamin, Lashley against Hangman and the Bucks. I could envision a scenario that ends with that. So, because the Bucks are still gone, I have no idea why they're still gone. We have not seen them on TV since October. They went to New Japan. They did that, and they won the tag titles for whatever it was, a month, I think, that they held them. And we still haven't seen them. And we're heading into April, which is kind of odd, that they haven't been back. I feel like they're probably coming back soon. I've tried to think of, like, how do you reintroduce them? What do you do with them? And I could see Hangman needing some partners. And lo and behold, we get the Bucks back, because the Bucks are going to be going after those tag team titles. So
you mean to tell me we could potentially see the Bucks take the belts off the Hurt Syndicate?
I think it's possible, yes.
I think that sounds terrible.
I think that sounds terrible too, but doesn't mean they won't do it.
Listen, man,
they can challenge and lose.
Yeah, sure. Which sounds worse, that or them going up against the Death Riders and taking back control of AEW?
That would be far worse. That would be far worse.
Oh man, you can't win. No. It's a no-win situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's like door number 1, door number 2. Yeah, neither one really is a good choice. But that was my first thought coming out of it. Maybe that's where it's leading. I'm glad it's continuing. I think we knew coming out of Revolution we weren't done with MJF and Hangman. The picture going into Texas, though, was interesting now because we had Will Ospreay go out there and tell Tony Schiavone he was calling his shot because he wants to headline that show in Arlington and challenge for the world title. And so he's declaring himself for the Owen Hart tournament, which
is 3 months away.
Maybe they'll bump it up, but yeah, it's fucking 3 months away, and he's declaring for the Owen Hart tournament. That's great, but like, okay, what are you doing in the meantime? I don't know. And then Jay White also basically said, I'm going after the championship as well. So it's nice that people are making their claims to the world title. Makes the world title feel special, but it's a little early, I think, to be declaring. I mean, it would be like Drew McIntyre showing up on Raw this Monday and saying, I'm officially declaring for the King of the Ring. It's like, okay, well, the King of the Ring's in like June, so that's nice and all, but I don't know why you're doing that now.
Ospreay did declare. I know you have made mention on this show that Ospreay winning the World Championship could potentially happen at All In. I don't know where they go because Swerve is getting the championship match. It's either going to be against Cope or Moxley. I would assume it's one-on-one with Moxley after Moxley attacked him on Collision with a crowbar. It could be a triple threat match.
I was going to say you don't think it could be a triple threat, which I don't want to see.
Me neither.
I would rather it be Mox and Swerve. There's no reason for Copeland to be in that match.
Yeah. Well, maybe Christian takes the shot away from Cope on Monday, and then they do one-on-one there. I really don't know. All I know is that Swerve needs to win the championship. If they are going with him in the championship match at Dynasty, where are we going? If that is the case, if someone should sit Tony down and say, boss, this is the perfect opportunity to end this. It ain't working. Hasn't worked. It's not working. 6 months in, it's not working. Swerve is the champion. Does he go in against Ospreay at All In? Does he go in against Hangman at All In? Or does he go in against MJF at All In? I mean, any one of those matches, sign me the fuck up. I mean, those are 3 banger matches right there.
So you've convinced yourself that Swerve is winning.
Yes. Bro, you gotta give me a ray of sunshine, man. I gotta make myself happy here some way.
So you don't think that there's still a chance that they are saving that win for Darby Allin?
No. I've said that months ago. I cannot physically see it. No, I can't.
Okay.
Do you think that's where they're going?
I don't want them to wait. I've made that clear. I hope Swerve wins too, but I haven't given up on this thought that they're holding off until assuming that Darby will be back and that Darby's going to be the one. He's going to come back. He's going to plant his flag on the mountain, and he's going to come back, and he's going to, because again, it ties back to Sting. And they had Darby with Sting, and that was a great partnership. It was a great idea putting the two of them together. And I think they look at Darby as that guy, and they put Sting with him for a reason. And provided everything goes okay, and he's, going to come back, shortly thereafter his climb. I'm not even sure when the climb is. I mean, I don't
supposed to be in April.
Is it? Okay. Well, look, they're taking a risk if they are betting everything on Darby, but I haven't given up on this thought that they may well hold off with the expectation Darby comes back and then he gets his revenge on the Death Riders and he takes them down.
I mean, it does make sense after what we've been given so far.
It does, but the timing doesn't. That's the only thing that sucks about it. Like, if Darby were available, then Darby's the guy. As far as this story, it should be him.
Sure,
I agree.
Sure.
100%.
I don't look at that though. You may think differently, and someone's going to fucking, obviously not like what I have to say. I don't look at that as a pay-per-view period. Never mind all in pay-per-view main event. I don't. I think it's more of a collision main event. Moxley's ruined
Darby and Mox?
Yeah, Moxley's ruined his credibility, and I don't really care to see Darby win the world championship at all. I mean, look at him. He's a world champion to you for what, a week? To do what? To lose it to whoever's going to hold it next?
People are saying the same thing about Jey Uso.
I'm not comparing Jey Uso and Darby Allin, bro. Come on now.
So wait a minute, hold on a second here. So you're gonna tell me that you look at Darby Allin and your reaction is, come on, look at this guy, champion for more than a week. Give me a break. You look at Jey Uso and you think that this guy's going to be champion come SummerSlam if he wins the title at WrestleMania?
I never said that.
Okay, but when you look at Jey Uso, though, do you see a bigger, like, obviously he's bigger, he's a bigger star because he's on television now in WWE and everyone's going yeet. We know that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, in terms of looking at somebody and saying that's a world champion, when you look at Jey Uso, you're going to tell me that you look at him and say, okay, that guy could be world heavyweight champion, but Darby Allin can't?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I disagree.
Oh, that's you're allowed to disagree.
I disagree.
I'm saying,
shocked. I'm shocked that you said that. To be
bro,
honest with you.
at all in, man, you gotta go with Swerve Hangman, Swerve MJF, or Swerve Ospreay. I'm sorry.
Darby has been there from day one, and Darby has always been over to this audience. Like, he's obviously a smaller guy, but I mean, so is Daniel Bryan, and he got over organically because the people liked him. They genuinely liked him, and that's how he got over. To the AEW audience, Darby, like, that's one of the closest things I could think of. That's how they look at Darby. Darby is like part of the heart and soul in many ways of AEW. And he's a crazy SOB, and he goes out there and does absolutely dumb shit that I wish he wouldn't do, but that's Darby. And he's over. Like, to that audience, he's over. When he comes back, he'll get a big reaction. It'll be a big deal. And I look at him and I say, him taking down Jon Moxley and winning the world title, I don't look at that as a collision main event. I could see that as a pay-per-view main event. Now, Texas Stadium, maybe a tougher sell. Maybe. But I don't look at that as a Rampage or a collision main event. I think that Darby has been built up enough over these 5 years and is well-liked enough. And he usually has great matches, by the way, so I'm not worried about match quality.
Everything you're saying spot on. I just don't look at him 110 pounds as fucking world champion. That's all.
Okay.
Who's the better wrestler, Darby or Jey Uso? Darby Allin by a fucking.
I'm just saying, like, from all the matches that Darby Allin from all the matches Darby has had before against other big names, was that ever an issue with you when he wrestled MJF or when he wrestled any of these other people he's been in the ring with?
I guess
been an issue for you before?
I guess it just lends itself to being, I want this to end the way that it needs to end. And I feel like putting the championship on one of these guys that you've solidified as the top of the card that I mentioned is the way to go. If you are already making claim that Ospreay's calling a shot, he should automatically be the world champion then. Like, I'm not thinking about Darby Allin. I'm thinking about MJF, Jay White. I'm thinking about Will Ospreay, Swerve, Hangman. That's the core. Darby, a part of that, I mean, sure, fine. But
I'm not saying Darby would have a long run with it. I mean, Darby could win it. Darby could win it and get his moment. I mean, look, you were in agreement with me when we were talking about the possibility of Darby winning the title at Revolution and then quickly dropping it to maybe Christian or something, the following week. But Darby would be the one, and he would get that moment. And I think you were in agreement on that.
Yeah, that worked, because I just wanted the storyline with the Death Riders to end.
But I didn't hear you saying at that time, like, no, it can't be Darby because he's too small. I can't see him winning the world title. It's got to be somebody else.
In comparison to who we now have in the title picture, that's what I'm going with.
There's tons of guys, sure. But again, Darby doesn't have to hold it for a long time. He could drop it to Jay White. He could drop it to anybody. And then, it could go to Swerve. It could go to Hangman. It could go to MJF. I mean, when you really look at the top of the card there, they have a lot of options. So you could do it with Hangman winning the title in Texas, Ospreay winning the title in Texas, Darby, if he were around, winning the title. they have a lot of good options, which is good, right? It's good that they have that kind of core of guys, and you could put the title on any number of them. I just wouldn't wave my hand. I wouldn't wave Darby off as, oh well, no, that's a Collision main event. I think he's been built up as a big enough star that people, by and large, like AEW fans, would have no issue buying him in that spot.
I agree.
As being the one to beat Mox.
I think what you mentioned before, him doing this excursion and him being off TV for this long period of time, I'm not thinking about him anymore. I mean, if you're going to ask me who would I rather have in that spot as the heart and soul, I mean, it's very difficult to not look at Swerve as being the heart and soul of the company now in his absence. I mean, who are you going to go with, Swerve or Darby? I'm going Swerve, not only because of that, but to end the Death Rider storyline. Then you got the whole Dynasty tie-in. He won the title last year, Dynasty. Why can't it be his Dynasty again this year and just play into that aspect going into the Death Rider story? It's his Dynasty, and he won it, and now he's back as world champion, and he ended Jon Moxley.
I mean, that's fine. I'm not even advocating to keep the belt on Moxley until July. I'm just saying I'm not fully convinced that Tony Khan has given up on the idea of Darby being the one. And I'm worried that everybody's assuming / hoping Swerve is going to win at Dynasty. I wish I had that confidence.
Listen, are we probably looking at more of what you're saying? Yes, because I don't think he's changing. I think he's going to stick to what the plan is, and I think the plan has always been Darby. But I think it's a colossal mistake. I do. I know everybody thinks it's a fucking terrible mistake.
Well, because I mean, people are sick and tired. They can't stomach the thought of the title continuing to stay on Moxley for another 3 or 4 months. I don't even want to think about that. So I agree. The title has to come off of him because Darby is just not around. And that's the thing that kind of sucks about the whole thing. If he was not unavailable, I think he would be the guy in that spot. And then coming out of that, yeah, you could transition the title to anybody you want to. You'd have plenty of names to keep you occupied through the middle of next year.
Yeah.
But it's just that Darby isn't around right now. And so I agree. Because of that, it's time to move on. Darby can always have his moment some other time. I don't know that Tony necessarily is thinking the same way.
I think I've also probably would have felt a little bit differently, giving Darby that spot with Moxley, having him win the match at Arlington, and then Christian would still have the briefcase or the fucking contract and then cash it in. But they ruined that and got rid of that now. And now it's like, all right, if he wins the championship, we don't see him holding it long, but who does he drop it to? Christian would have been a shoo-in.
That's why I suggested for Revolution when I thought Darby was still going to be available for Revolution, which I guess he wasn't. He could win at Revolution, end this horrid Death Rider stuff, and then here comes Christian.
Yeah.
Not even that night, like even that Wednesday or something. Here comes Christian with the contract, and then he cashes in, he wins the championship, and then Darby goes off. He goes off to, train and do whatever he's going to do. The timing just really fucked everything up. So, I mean, what are you going to do? It is what it is. I mean, he made his mind up. He was going to do it last year. Broke his foot. Said, nope, I'm still. And I was like, it's a sign from God, right? You shouldn't be doing this. He's like, no, I'm going to do it next year. And so him going away, if you think about it, really did. I feel like it fucked up a lot of the plans that he probably had for what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Thankfully for him, though, he does have 3 or 4 other people who you could easily put that title on.
Well, hopefully he comes back alive. We don't even know if he's going to be fucking here with us in the living.
Well, let us think positive thoughts. But there are people far more experienced than him who have struggled on that mountain.
Anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the discussion tonight. See, him and I don't agree on everything. We got similar takes on a lot of shit, but, it's always one of those little nuggets.
Justice for Darby.
Yeah, justice for
Start
Darby.
that hashtag.
There you go. Thank you guys very much for joining us on what I thought was a great Tuesday Night Titans. A little light in the news this week, but we made the best of it. We're going to get into your super chats in just a little bit. We hit 1,000 likes, so thank you. We had upwards towards 3,300 people in here tonight. Thank you very much. Super chats are open and will remain open. It's the best way to support me and Jason here on a Tuesday night. And make sure you guys go follow us on YouTube and on social media. Everything you need is linked down below in the description for both of our socials and YouTube. Let's get into these here. Who do we got first? We'll start off with Michael $4 in Super Chat. JD, I hope today is a better day, my friend. JD, Jason, I hope all is well. Let's go. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Zobi with a 5 coming to us from the United Kingdom. Hi, I've been a subscriber since 2014. Agreed with a lot of what you said over the years. If it was up to you, who would you give the next 3 Hall of Fame spots to in 2025? It's tough. I mean, natural disasters are not confirmed, right? I think Tugboat.
Well, I mean, he did an interview and basically said they got the call. So WWE hasn't announced it, but they're going in.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have put Demolition in.
Yeah, me too. I would have put Demolition in, absolutely.
I mean, I'll say this: Demolition, and instead of Michelle McCool, I had Mickie James going in.
Yeah.
So as far as like the female inductee. And also, and I think there's still a chance it could happen. I had mentioned, Haku maybe going in. I'm kind of surprised he's not in now. Everybody talks about him whenever they bring up like the toughest guys in wrestling. His name always comes up. He's worked for multiple promotions, and his sons are currently actively working in. I think he's got 3 sons like in WWE in this bloodline stuff like right now. So I guess Hikuleo's not, but. It just shocks me he's not already in.
Boris in the chat says Natty is pushing for Fit Finley's Hall of Fame spot. Yeah,
that works.
Psycho, I know you mentioned Psycho Sid last week. I think Psycho Sid should be in the Hall of Fame. Not this year because I think it's already loaded. I think he's a big enough name to go in next year or the year.
Well, yeah, but they haven't announced anybody who has deceased yet, right? Who's going in this year? So I mean, unfortunately. He's no longer with us, so I mean, he would fit that criteria. I feel like they have their like criteria. Like we have to have the headliner, we have 1 woman, we have 1 tag team, and then sometimes they put in like a deceased inductee and then a celebrity. Like that's their criteria for it. So it's still possible, he could go in this year.
Now remember, guys, the Hall of Fame is separate. It's not happening after SmackDown. It's going to be. I don't know if they're airing it on the network. I don't think. I think
it's on Peacock.
Okay.
I think it's on Peacock. It's
Thursday?
Friday.
Okay.
After SmackDown.
All right. Nate with a 2 coming to us from Australia. Heel Cena, I can't wait to see who destroys on the mic. Who he destroys on the mic? He could destroy anybody. I don't know if he's going to destroy anybody on the mic, but I know a lot of people that I have a friendship with says that they want to see John Cena destroy R-Truth.
That's what I've been saying. R-Truth literally has jacked all of his moves. So, I mean, he would be totally justified if he showed up on TV and, messed them up.
Oh, my God, man. This guy, he's basically, he owns the venue more than I do, man. My guy, Osakui Jason, comes in with a $400 super chat.
Wow.
Holy shit, man. Another round of applause for my guy, Osakui, man. That is unbelievable, man. This guy blows me away. Unbelievable. Every single time he walks in, man, he's just, here you go. Dropping a fucking super dono on top of the bar. Osakui, brother, what's going on? I enjoyed Cena's promo, but wished it didn't go the blame the fans route. It works for Cena, but it is overused. I'll be curious to see how WWE explains Rock's inclusion in this turn, because the turn is so personal to Cena, and he didn't need Rock to win the Elimination Chamber. Cena's desperation needs to be front and center to make sense of things. Says Osakui with, again, a $400 super chat. Brother, I can't even begin to thank you. I'm sure Jason feels the same way, man. I don't know what we could say to you. Thank you, brother. I love you. As soon as I'm out on the West Coast, man, for whatever reason, steaks and old fashions on me, brother. You know that.
Well, I mean, well said, too, because that's what I mentioned before about Cena's desperation. They didn't really take that approach last night, and I thought they might, and I still think they should. So I'm in agreement with Osakui, but holy crap. You know what he just did? He just swooped in. He pulled a Rhea Ripley. He put his name on the contract. He owns the venue now.
He does, yeah.
It belongs to him.
That's what he usually does. Him and David Thiering. 2 peas in a pod, those 2 gentlemen are. Unbelievable. Thank you, brother. Again, love you. Hope your family is well and safe from all the nonsense that's going out there with the fires and all the chaos that caused, brother. So thank you again, man. Appreciate you. What else do we got here, man? Zobi, thank you. Nate, thank you. Fire Panda, 6 months. JD, is it true that when Solid Monster has too much to drink, he starts singing "Bad Romance" by Lady Gaga? I never heard this, but no, I'm not gonna say.
Fire Panda is just wildly spreading rumors constantly about me, and there is no video evidence of this. So
I wish I had video evidence of Jason with Brian Zane in Vegas when we were out for the first Double or Nothing, singing "Bob with the Bob" by Kid Rock, because I was so drunk. I'm like, you know it'll be great, man. Let's sing this one.
It never happened.
No, it never happened.
You can't prove it.
I cannot. Fire Panda, thank you. Michelle with it too. With AEW in the toilet, why would Brian stay in AEW? Brian Danielson? Brian loves Tony Khan, and Tony Khan loves Brian.
Yeah, I mean, he genuinely loves it there.
Yeah.
Tony has said that he told his father, like, if anything ever happens to him, like if he gets hit by a bus, like, put Brian Danielson in charge.
He will be back, hopefully. Not wrestling full-time, but I don't think we've seen the last of Brian wrestle. Al Bundy with a 1999. It doesn't matter. Nothing gets to you. Staying fresh, staying cool with Mentos Fresh and full of life. Fresh goes better. Mentos, freshness. Fresh goes better with Mentos, fresh and full of life. Mentos, the fresh maker. Oh, I didn't know.
My $30 super chat on my channel.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah.
Listen, man. I was a fan of Mentos, man. They were a solid choice when you didn't want Tic Tacs or anything else.
Any particular flavor?
I don't remember. Mint. The regular mint. Yeah. What was the other one?
I think there was like some kind of fruity flavor that they also.
Oh yeah,
had.
those were good too.
Yeah.
Al Bundy, thank you, brother. MGM Ballin with a 40. Cena this, Cena that, Yeet this, Gunther that, blah, blah, blah. We're forgetting the most important thing in all this. What about Raven? That old Johnny Polo, man. Love Raven. Notorious Q with a 10. I wonder if Stone Cold will be at WrestleMania since he was announced for WrestleMania World. He will. I predict, yes. So does Jason.
He'll be there.
The Boss Mo Jackson with a $4.99 and a $1.99. I hate how Bianca's story is looking to be a triple threat. It makes me think Io is actually retaining the way she's been treated. Penta as IC champion is dope. A wrestler's death that hit you the hardest, JD and Solo. Owen Hart.
Owen Hart. Yeah, Owen Hart. Yeah. I mean, I was watching it live that night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing that comes close. I mean, except I guess the Benoit stuff was just. I remember that day too, and that was jarring for a very different reason. But Owen will always be number one.
Yeah, you know what else hit hard too? Jay Briscoe hit hard. That hit hard because legitimately, Jason and I called his last match, and that fucking shit. Me and him are so fortunate and honored that it was, as great as it was, and then to hear him leave us. When I heard the news, man, I just started crying right there wherever I was. It was awful.
Yeah.
Boss Mo Jackson, thank you, brother. As far as Bianca's story, yes, I do believe Io is walking out of WrestleMania is still the champion. Yeah. Michael Bertoni with a 5. He says, I got some major 2004-2005 JBL vibes from this Cena promo on Raw. I didn't think JBL, but JBL was a good promo. I will give him that.
Yeah, no, I didn't get JBL vibes.
Jedi Joker with it. I'm sorry,
because JBL. I mean, again, the vibe I got out of this was, I was trying to portray, what you wanted me or what I thought you wanted me to be, and you abused me. I didn't get that out of JBL's first promo.
Yeah.
When he turned.
Yeah. Jedi Joker with a 2. Do you guys watch LFG? If so, any favorites? Yes, Jedi. I watched this past week. I am all caught up. I like, what's her name? The cheerleader. I think she's great. And I like that Olympian. I forgot her name too. The next Miss Kurt Angle. She's awesome.
I have not been keeping up with LFG. I've been watching Evolve.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about that last week, and there's some standouts on that show.
Yep.
I mentioned Jack Cartwheel, and Keanu Carver is another one. We had Kylie Ray, actually, this past week was on the show.
Nice.
And she lost, but she was on there. So she's part of that little roster there. So LFG, I've heard good things about it. I just had just so much. I mean, my God.
Yeah, there was a lot.
You really got to pick and choose, I think, like what you watch each week. So I'll have to check it out.
Thank you, Jedi. Arcade the Hedgehog with a 5. Hey, JD, who's the GM for me to challenge you, JD, for the OTS Heavyweight Championship title on Fallout at WrestleMania? Who's the GM? Do I have a list of people to choose? If not, I'm just going to choose this guy because he's already a commissioner. He's already a matchmaker.
Sure, why not? More work.
Ryan with a $4.99. He says, do you think Sami Zayn will be in a match at WrestleMania this year, or is it too late? I do not think he will be on the Mania card.
I think he'll be off the card this year, but I think he's going to be in a good spot next year.
Yeah. The Beast More Toast with a $1.99. Bready or not, here I crumb. Yes, thank you, Beast More Toast. Xeno Zero with a 20. Hey, JD, had a suggestion. I don't want to get in your business on how you get your music for the stream, but if you were looking to add a new song, might I suggest Isolation by Alter Bridge? Would definitely fit the Dark Horse perfectly. Brother, I am well aware of Isolation by Alter Bridge, man. One of their heavier tracks. I cannot use any Alter Bridge music, unfortunately. I've reached out to Miles Kennedy's management. I've reached out to Mark Tremonti's management, and no bueno. Can't do it. It would be my first choice. Zeno also says with a 5. Also, I would imagine Cena's promo on Monday would fit perfectly back when he lost to The Rock at WrestleMania 28 and went heel. What do you guys think?
Yep.
Yeah,
what you saw last night, like that was the promo that we would have gotten in 2012.
Bader Mohammed. Thank you, JD and Jason, for your dedicated work throughout the years. What are your favorite 5 WrestleMania main events ever? Mine are 12, 17, 26, 31, and 40, he says.
40 is on the list.
Yes.
40 was great. I would have to put... I would put 6. That was a big deal to me as a kid.
Likewise.
Specifically main events, right?
Yeah.
17.
Okay.
Some of my favorite WrestleMania matches were not the main event.
Bryan winning and winning the world title at 30.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be one.
I'm going to include one here. It might not be in the greatest WrestleMania main events of all time, but one of Roman's best matches ever was against Brock Lesnar in, what was it, WrestleMania 31? 31, yeah. That match 31. Was fucking great. With the Rollins cash in, yeah, definitely that one.
The triple threat with Shawn, Triple H, and Benoit, 20.
Yeah,
was also great. An excellent one.
There you go, Bader. Hopefully that answers your question, yeah. What about HBK Undertaker 26?
Yeah, I mean, that probably should be on there. I like 25 more than 26.
Yeah.
But 25 wasn't the main event. It should have been.
It should have been.
25 wasn't the main event. So, yeah, 26 deserves, I think, consideration. We're talking top 5.
There you go, Bader. Thank you, brother. Basic with 24 months. Hogan remembered that his son was going to be married again, and he had to be at the wedding.
He's like, well, brother, got to make it to the ceremony, brother.
Oh, my God. Arabian Night with a $6.99 coming to us from Canada. I don't know what's worse, TK and AW's booking mishandling of Camille, or WWE having Hikuleo and Lance and Hawaii signed for 8 months, paying them, and still no debut. LOL.
I would say that Camille, having already been, featured on TV and debuting on TV and then being utilized in the way that she was, I'd say that's worse.
Yeah.
Because she's done. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, she's not going to be on TV ever again.
That's it. Like there's.
I mean, they didn't even mention her that she was in the fucking movie.
No, I'm not. That's what told me that she's done. Like, they literally promoted that movie on their show and showed everybody but her. And she actually has a pretty big role in the movie. Like Tony Storm's role, I haven't seen the movie, but apparently Tony Storm's role, which they mentioned, is small compared to the role that Camille has in the movie. And if you just watched AEW TV, you would never even know she's in it.
That's crazy. Thank you, Arabian Night. Basic with a 9.99. My 15-year-old son has been following Hogan's career since the 80s. How could Hogan let him down?
Like when they said that, like in the report about how, like, you know, my kids are such big Hogan fans. They've like been watching him for so many years. I'm like, are people bringing their 38-year-old children to this meet and greet? What do you mean your children have been watching him for years? And then you see them and they're like 6. I'm like, come on, Dad. Let's be honest. What's going on here?
Yeah, really.
Come on.
Ali with a 5. AJ the Solid Monster. Would a match between Karrion Kross and Aleister Black be something y'all would be interested in if it ever played out? Sure. Kross is on Raw, though, and Black is more than likely going to SmackDown.
Only with the right story.
Yeah.
It has to have a good story.
Fire Panda with a $70 super chat coming to us from Canada. Thank you, Fire Panda. He says...
Wow.
She, sorry. I can't tell. I apologize to the Sound Off family. Sorry. Hulk Hogan is a god-tier goober. That's all she says.
Well, you know what? That's a $70 god-tier goober super chat right there. I give it a thumbs up. I agree.
Listen, man, Hogan's a part of my childhood, but I mean, to see your childhood just kind of fizzle out in the most embarrassing
Same thing
way.
with Flair.
It's like,
I mean, if you think about it, Hogan and Flair should have been two of the most like revered names, you know. And they, I guess they still will be because they're going to go down as two of the most popular. But to see what they have become or the way that they have conducted themselves, Flair, the things he's done and said, it's sad. You know, they had these great legacies at one time, and to see what they've turned into is very sad.
Arabian Night with a 6.99. NXT's men's division is shallow as ever. It'll get worse soon once the draft starts. They got to bring in vets to work with the youth, i.e. Cardona, Cobb, and Hammerstone. Cardona in NXT is no bueno for me. Jeff Cobb, nah, he's beyond that. Hammerstone, I could see.
Cardona in NXT, I think, would do well.
Yeah, he would do well. I think he's...
As a heel? As a heel.
Yeah.
As a heel, I think he would do well.
Yeah. Best in the World Matt with a $5 super chat. Cena's new heel theme is Rikishi's Badman theme. LOL.
You know what? Low key, that's a good song.
Dr. L.
It's got a good beat.
I got to go back and listen. I don't remember. Badman. Dr. L. $9.99. Is this Dave Meltzer's burner? I don't know. I wish we got Cena's heel turn after the Rock feud with him cheating to break the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania 30. He would have gotten legit nuclear heat, and last night's promo could have fit on that next Raw. Yeah, even that. Yeah. WWE. Cena challenging for the streak would have been fucking unbelievable. I don't know why they never went that route.
I mean, it was a no-brainer when he was still a babyface, like as Super Cena.
Yeah.
Like every near fall, people would have had a heart attack, thinking, "Oh my God, they're gonna give it to him. They're gonna feed him the streak." And then in the end, Undertaker, ends up beating him. But like the drama would have been incredible. Once the streak was over, the drama was gone.
Yeah, that would have been one of the more nail-biting experiences that we may have ever witnessed.
Oh yeah.
Levi, 30 months. Made it to a live. Solo, hope you are well, and I'll try and catch you on your channel. JD, as always, you are a beast. Jesse, still running the bar. No, he's probably off playing Destiny somewhere. But thank you, Levi. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Levi.
Leopoldo with a 5. I assume Punk's going to remind Cena that he said the same exact things in 2011, only better. Imagine their mic battles 14 years later. That will be great. Yes, I do hope we get heel Cena and babyface Punk for sure. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Adam Khan, 20 in Super Chat. What's Cross up to? Stay awesome. Cross is like the backstage therapist, I think, of WWE.
He's got the straight hair now too, like AJ does.
He does, yeah. Apparently, I've seen someone say he changes his hairstyle up for everybody he talks to. Like if he's talking to Sam, he's got his hair up in a bun.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Yeah. You'll be surprised what people uncover on social media. I
can't wait until he confronts Solo Sikoa then. I got to see this. That's going to be interesting.
Boss Mo Jackson with a 199. AEW's top star versus WWE's top star. Who do you got? JD and Solo. That's a tough one.
Well, I mean, AEW's top star. I'm not including Moxley, even though he's the champion.
Yeah, no.
I would say you're looking at either Swerve or Ospreay, is who I would go with. One of those two. And on the WWE side,
take your pick. Roman, Cody, Punk.
Yeah, Cody would make sense. Punk would make sense. Two former AEW guys, by the way.
Yeah.
Would you include Rollins in that conversation? Like, would you do Rollins and Ospreay, or?
I would do Rollins Ospreay just based off their past social media history. Yeah.
But he wouldn't be like their biggest star.
No. Kenny Omega, Roman Reigns, probably.
Yeah, that's another one. That's another one.
I mean, is it unfair to say MJF and Cody or MJF Punk, even though we've seen them?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, look, those are two matches. If he ever goes to WWE, I'd love to see him again.
Yes, absolutely.
You got to do it.
Boss Mo Jackson, thank you, brother. Good question. Adam Kahn with the 2. Grande Americano. Yes. I love the name, not the drink. Boss Mo Jackson with the 499. Here's a joke for you. Hopefully you guys will laugh. Why does the chicken not cross the road? Because he's chicken.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Listen, man, Sidro's jokes sometimes don't make any sense. You've possibly made more sense than Sidro sometimes.
It makes a lot of sense.
My Sidro mode, he says. Thank you, Boss Mo Jackson. Jamel Turney with a 199. Role model. Role model. What an awful fucking theme.
It's so bad.
PD Shaw with 48 months. That's a nice Mustang logo you got next to your name, brother. I don't get to watch as much as I can live. Great show. Keep up the great work. Thank you, PD Shaw.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you. Boss Mo Jackson with a 199. Royal Rumble or WrestleMania? Money in the Bank or SummerSlam? As far as what? Favorite event? I'm going Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble, and what was the other one?
WrestleMania, Money in the Bank, or SummerSlam?
I mean, between Money in the Bank and SummerSlam.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, if we're splitting them off, if we're only picking one out of the 4, then I'm probably still going with Rumble.
Yeah. Arabian Night. You know what Royal Rumble I watched? The 96 Rumble. I was watching it in bed the other night. I could not believe how bad it was.
You mean you didn't like when Shawn Michaels super kicked Diesel in the shoulder to eliminate him from the Royal Rumble?
No, man. Who was in that Rumble, dude? I mean, what were they that void of fucking stars that during 90 that badly? I don't remember it being that bad.
Oh, you got to watch the 95 one. That's even worse.
Jeez. I mean, that was the one that was the 60-second one, wasn't it?
That was the 60-second one. So the total time of the Rumble was 38 minutes. But like some of the guys they had in there, like if you think 96 was bad, you got to take a look at the roster that they had there in that Rumble in 95. Like it was bad.
I was like, what am I watching here? Holy shit.
Those are some lean times back then.
Arabian Night with the 279. Thoughts about Carmella's bizarre firing situation? I don't really have any thoughts. I thought Carmella was good for what she did for the company. I don't know. I don't really know what to make of it. I didn't really speak on it because WWE hasn't said anything. And Carmella is not with the company anymore, so she can say whatever she wants. Boots.
I think we'll see her back at some point.
Yeah, I think so. Boots for the 2. What if we get swerved and Stone Cold stuns Cody? I don't think so.
For what purpose?
I don't think so, Boots. No.
For what purpose, Boots?
Mitchell Almond with a 1 month. Thank you, Mitchell. Welcome. Dan Master. $2 super chat from New Zealand. Hey, JD, been watching your review for a few years now. OTS for life. Thank you, Dan Master. Appreciate it, brother. Logan the Inspired with a 20. You are the goats of the IWC. OTS for life. Okay, both of you, what is the maximum amount of money you would pay to have a fly on the wall point of view of every WWE and AEW Gorilla Position convo that's ever happened?
Just any conversation at all?
Yeah.
Nothing. If you narrow it down to like specific like incidents, like brawl out or something like that, then I'd be willing to shed a few bucks.
Yeah.
But just like any conversation, like Triple H talking to Bruce Pritchard about what he fucking ate for breakfast, like I don't give a shit. The hell do I care?
No, we don't care about that. AEW Defender, Dr. Scorpio with a 5. Darby is a bigger star than Jey Uso. I can see him win that AEW World title from Mox if he survives Everest. Is he a bigger star than Jey Uso? No, he's not. Is he a better? No. Is he a better wrestler? Absolutely, by a fucking country mile.
Would I rather watch a Darby Allin match than a Jey Uso match?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, 1000%. Summer history with a 5. Darby Allin is trash. No way he is anywhere near Jey Uso. I'm glad we sparked great discussion here. D. Allen is nothing without his desperate death define crap. Great value Jeff Hardy wannabe. Well, summer history, why don't you tell me how you really feel?
Great value Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Base Beers with a 2. Darby cares more about Everest than the AW title. Well, sure, it's his life on the line. Of course he does. Also, Qui again, thank you, brother, for the 400. Hope you are well. Love you. Dom Joseph for the 499. If you didn't notice, WWE was foreshadowing again with Cena and Orton on the Backlash poster. Yeah. Maybe we should pick up the hints about what they did with the Elimination Chamber poster. AEW Defender Dr. Scorpio with a $10 super chat. Realistically, which team has the best chance to stop the Dodgers from repeating this year? Blue Jays are going to let them down again this year. OTS Fly. You know, it's funny you brought up a baseball-related question, Dr. Scorpio. I Grok on X how the Braves are going to fare this year, and it spit out that the Braves will win 96 games this year. Will have a very difficult time with the Phillies and the Mets, but will ultimately go on to win the division at least this year. That's what Grok told me.
Well, I mean, that just goes to show you how unreliable Grok is. Grok has no idea what it's talking about.
Supposedly, the Braves picked up a minor league contract for Craig Kimbrell today. I don't know what that's going to do.
Okay.
So, see what happens
Not
there.
going to help you in the end.
No. He was great in the beginning. Now I don't know what the fuck he's turned into. Base Beers with the 2. Ba-wa-ta-ba, the bang-a-dang diggy-diggy. Yeah. It's a great song. For karaoke, it's not.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's not a karaoke.
Well, drunk karaoke, I should say.
Not a karaoke song, drunk or sober.
Julian with a $10 super chat. I was gonna, the other one I was gonna choose was Enter Sandman. I figured I'd go with Bob with the Bob, which was a little bit more.
That I could do. Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah. Julian with a 10. JD, for the fans who are still on the fence about attending WrestleMania weekend, what are your thoughts on prices and events for Las Vegas? Would you say New Orleans in 26 is a better option to plan? Yes. Yes, I would. Flights would be cheaper. Vegas is fun, but I think New Orleans is a little bit more well-rounded, isn't it, Jason? For the normie?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Vegas is just expensive regardless, but you factor in the WWE prices that they charge now for these events, and it's just astronomical. It's just, people are just priced out. So who knows a year from now how things are going to be, but I can almost guarantee you New Orleans is going to be more affordable than Vegas would be.
Base Beers with a 2. Why isn't there a Coke-flavored Mentos yet? It's a good question.
There are people, if you go on YouTube, there are people who have done this. Have you seen this experiment where they take a
Mentos and it explodes like a volcano?
It explodes, yeah.
Yeah, my brother's a scientist, so he may give me the reason why that happens. I don't know. Mad Mike, $9.99. Would you like to see Uncle Howdy, if the Wyatt 6 comes back, go for a title run like Bray Wyatt did before? No. I would not. Daniel Malcolm with a 10 months. Thank you, Daniel. He says simply, yup. Thank you. Base Beers with a 2. Who wins in a shoot, Scott Steiner or Ron Simmons?
Ooh.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that is. But because Steiner's got that college wrestling background, but Simmons has the football background. Personally, I'm gonna go Ron Simmons on this.
I was gonna go Ron Simmons too. I was gonna say Scott Steiner, maybe early, young age Scott Steiner, if we're gonna go compare them at youth. But I think Ron Simmons now. Yeah.
If they're gonna throw down, I'm going with Ron Simmons.
Yeah. Jedi Joke with a 5. The Olympian is Tyra May Steele. Yes, that's her name on LFG. She's very good. And the cheerleader is Danny Skaleski. I also like Shiloh Hill. Yeah, I like him too. The one dude on Team Bubba gives me MJF vibes. I don't like him. I think that one dude really makes the show very, very scripted and reality based. I don't like it.
Is Shiloh the one with like the missing tooth?
Yeah, he's got the missing tooth. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like. He's got a good look.
He's got kind of a unique look.
Yeah. Baby Huey with the 199. Any chance we get Demon Balor against Penta? Hey, anything's possible. I don't know. Still waiting on him to not beat Pin Balor.
I mean, there was a segment on TV last week where they went backstage to the Judgment Day, and if you look behind Balor on like one of those equipment boxes, there was like a Demon Balor head sticker on there.
Yeah.
Which may be indicative of nothing, but I'm sure that we'll see the Demon at some point.
Yeah.
The Demon is dead, though. The Demon died. I've said this before. The Demon died against Roman Reigns when he fell off the top rope. And then we saw the Demon again against Edge. And Edge had no business winning that match when he beat Demon Balor at WrestleMania.
No.
You know, people talk about Copeland and how he doesn't put anybody over now. He's, in AEW. But, like, honestly, it goes back to the WrestleMania match with Balor. There was really no reason for him to not put Balor over.
It makes you go back and think, why did Roman double pin them? Because he didn't want to take the pinfall himself.
You know what? Yes, I hadn't thought about that. I had not thought about that. Yeah.
Oh, man. I tell you, this wrestling thing is so crazy, man. Baby Huey, thank you, brother. Tony Brown with a 499. He says, Stephanie Vaquer makes my pants swell. Thank you, Tony.
Easy there, big fella. You keep that to yourself.
Alex with a 5. Brother JD and Solo, are we looking at a scenario where both world titles change hands at Mania? Also, if Cena and Orton headline Backlash, who wins? Cena.
Yeah. Yeah, Cena's going to win. Yeah, I mean, we could see both world titles change at WrestleMania. I think right now, if you look at who probably the favorites are, right? I think probably both titles would be changing hands.
Yeah.
I'm not totally convinced Cody's losing, but if Cena's going to be a heel beyond WrestleMania, which I hope he is, then I would put the title on him.
Baze Beers with a 2. Cody, Cena at WrestleMania, finger poke of doom.
It's a good thing you're not booking.
No. MGM Ballin with a 999. Rhea has been coming off as very unlikable on TV lately. Wouldn't be surprised if she says to Pierce, that doesn't work for me, brother. Open a Hogan beer and say, I gotta go to ShopRite, brother.
It's almost like that promo that they put up on their social media channels a couple weeks ago. It was like something that she just ad-libbed.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't come into play at all, like in either of her appearances on TV. It's nothing.
Baby Huey, the 499. All of those videos the Ultimate Warrior made about Hulk Hogan in hindsight were genius. He told us, but we refused to listen.
Actually, Bobby Heenan told us for years.
Gotta listen to the brain.
Yeah, I mean, he said it after Hogan, turned in the NWO for him. He says, I've been trying to tell you for years, and nobody listened to me.
Hologram says, Stephanie Vaquer in 2 matches next week. Why?
Well, she's probably defending each of her titles.
So stupid. Blue Jay with a $2 Super Chat. Santana did a Guerrero tribute in El Paso. Shout out to House of Glory. Santana's awesome. We love Santana. He's killing it at Impact. Hopefully a world champion this year over there for that world championship. Aaron Tucker with a 499. Vaquer defending both titles next week. World Championship against Jada Parker and North American Championship against Fallon Henley. Think she loses one? No, I don't.
Well, this is why I hate this whole idea, because, I mean, what are you going to do? She's got the NXT Championship. So if she defends the North American title, which is the lesser of the 2 titles, she's going to lose the North American title? and then just retain the world title. So you're going to actually have her lose? Like, that's stupid.
Yeah, I don't see her losing at all. Like,
right. Which is why I thought,
why didn't they just take one away and just do a tournament or a battle royal or fucking gauntlet, whatever they want to come up with?
A ladder match, whatever. Stand and deliver. Exactly. Yeah. I don't understand that.
Aaron, thank you, brother. MGM Ball with the $4.99. Cruising in my 2002 Honda Civic, windows down, pack of Bud Light secured, blasting Nirvana, role model, added to the queue to play next. Thanks, guys. Role model. No, thank you.
Well, I mean, that six-pack better be secure but not open.
Yes.
You're, driving down the road.
Absolutely. Beast Comatose with a $13.99. Why did TK tweet about signing Ricochet? He thought the guy would bounce around like a human pinball, but Ricochet retweeted, nah, I'd rather rebound off your bad booking than land in that mess. Aha! Listen, you got to give Ricochet some credit, man. He's doing some good character work on TV right now. And the match with Swerve was probably the best match he's had in AEW so far. Base Beers with it, too. Scott Steiner came out with a effing tiger on Nitro.
He did. Was it Nitro or Thunder? I thought it was Thunder. Maybe it was Nitro.
I didn't watch any of those shows. Wasn't a WCW guy. I was strictly loyal to WWE. Lauren with a 2. Do you see Orton versus Cena at Backlash? It's on the poster. We're going to go with that. Slow King with a $2 super chat. Booked the worst WrestleMania finish. I mean, I think we might have seen one already. Miz beating John Cena is definitely one of them.
Well, if you're talking about this year, well, I mean, it depends. We have 2 main events. But if we're talking about Cena and Cody, it would be the worst. The worst thing they could do is have Cena turn babyface again during the main event, and then let's see, what else can they do to really fuck up that main event? I don't know. I feel like that match, it's going to be hard to fuck that up.
Yeah.
Unless they just literally have Cody beat Cena, and then Cena shakes his hand when the match is over, and he's back to being a babyface. I think that would be the worst thing they could do.
I'm pretty confident they're going to be okay. I mean, we've already seen some terrible WrestleMania main event finishes. I mean, Miz comes into play. Hogan winning at 9 comes into play. You know.
Or what was it someone suggested before? Austin shows up, but then he stuns Cody?
Yeah, that would be pretty bad, yeah.
Yeah.
Trevor, what's up, brother? $4.99. Great show as always, guys. If Cena is back to face, do you think we get him versus Dwayne in the main event of Night 1 or Night 2 at MetLife Stadium at SummerSlam? No, I don't think we get a Cena Rock match. If anything, it's going to be Rock Cody and Rock Roman. I think those are the last 2 matches that Rock would probably want.
And I don't see Rock wrestling at SummerSlam. I still feel like if he's wrestling, it's WrestleMania.
Yeah. And Lauren, we'll end with this with a 4. Everything Cena said was right. That was justified. Yes, I agree. Everything he said was exactly what he needed to say. And Cena, for many shows after Mania, any new feuds? It depends. If he stays a heel, Orton, Punk. I could see a rematch with Cody.
Those are the key matches right there.
Yeah, those are the key, especially the Punk one. I mean, that's the one I'm looking forward to most just because of the promo work. But, yeah, that's all we got for you guys, man. We appreciate episode 87 in the books. We'll be back next week with 88. We usually let this guy sound us off. What do you got, man? Anything cool? Anything going on?
Well, no, nothing cool, but I did notice this story the other day. It was actually, I think, the day after the House of Glory show. There was an independent wrestler who's based out here on the East Coast who was wrestling at a show in New Jersey, Vince Steele, who has been wrestling independently for over 20 years now and was only 39 years old, and he passed away during a match.
Terrible.
So that was awful. So I just wanted to say condolences to his friends and family, because that's not a fun, to be there. I know some of the wrestlers who were there commented on it and how traumatizing and awful it was.
Yeah.
That's just, awful to hear about.
Yeah, a couple of my peers in the community knew him personally and had nothing but glowing things to say about him. So my thoughts are with everybody that knew him and his family. That's just an awful situation for the people that were there as well. Thoughts to them. Lauren with another 4. Cena for many shows after Mania, and she says, like Cody, but he's definitely not a mic guy. He's definitely not a mic guy. He's one of the best storytellers in the business. Lauren, come on now.
Yeah, he can hold his own on the microphone.
Yeah.
Now, when Cena gets going, I don't know that he can match Cena. But as far as handling himself on the microphone, I think he does pretty well for himself.
Yeah. Thank you guys very much. We appreciate you, as always, for the Super Chat love tonight. Osakui, thank you to everybody that Super Chat. Thank you. We hit 1,200 likes. Awesome. Great streak we're on. We had 3,300 in here tonight live. Thank you guys very much. Make sure you follow Solomon on X, and make sure you guys hit that subscribe button over on his channel as well. He is live for basically everything, so go and check him out when you can. We'll both be live tomorrow night for AEW Dynamite, and then right back here for Tuesday Night Titans, episode 88. Thank you guys very much, and we'll see you next week for another episode of TNT. See you guys later.